with West Point Financial Group, a Mass Mutual firm. Michelle builds lifelong relationships, guiding families through legacy strategies from grandparents down to grandkids. She helps people secure their financial independence. Her tailored approach to savings can help you prepare for college, retirement, or business protection. Michelle's needs-based approach helps you prepare for all of life's biggest moments. Michelle Shute of West Point Financial Group, helping you earn, learn, and secure your tomorrow. Email Michelle at mshoot@financialguide.com. That's MSCHOOT @financialguide.com. Local firms or sales offices of Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company. Mass Mutual, Springfield, Massachusetts 01111-001, and are not subsidiaries of Mass Mutual or its affiliated companies. Michelle Shute is a registered representative of and offers securities through MML Investor Services, LLC, member SIPC. Supervisory office located at 30 South Wacker Drive, Suite 2700, Chicago, Illinois, 60606.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Mike created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Mike is offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $49.98. That's right, you can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $49.98. Order now because when they're gone, they're gone. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. Call 800-489-0201. Use promo code LIBERTY or go to mypillow.com. Make sure you use the promo code LIBERTY for the amazing offer of $49.98 on the Giza Dreams sheets, any size and any color. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Hazy sun, breezy morning. That haze coming from distant wildfire smoke. High today 80. Clear tonight, low 63. Hazy sun, breezy warm day tomorrow. The high up to 90. Scattered thunderstorms on Thursday. High at 77. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So the war of words between President Trump and the neo-Marxists escalated as the violence in L.A. did. Yesterday, California Governor Patrick Bateman not only sued the Trump administration over the federalization of National Guardsmen, which is within the president's power, but of course that doesn't limit the litigation of the left, I understand, but also suggested that President Trump is spoiling for civil war.
He's not for peacemaking. He's here for war. He wants a civil war on the streets of America, not just here. He's testing the boundaries by nationalizing the federal guard.
It's all fomenting civil strife. Trump is the one doing it because, as Mayor Karen Bass said so eloquently, but for enforcing federal law, we wouldn't have a problem in L.A.
If immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary.
So let me just understand something, the concession there by Karen Bass. So there's a network of people that are prepared to go out and exact violence on the city, on the law-abiding, on police, if the federal government moves to enforce federal immigration law. It's a nice city you have here in L.A. I'd hate to see something happen to it by the federal government enforcing federal immigration law. That's the path to peace, is don't enforce the law.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on that very same line.
Of course, Trump was pressed by Peter Doocy to respond to the accusation from Governor Bateman, and here's what he said.
Well, it's interesting. You watched the same clips as I did. Cars burning all over the place, people rioting. And by the way, we stopped it. We were able to make it much better, but it still looked pretty bad. And in watching clips last night, people were saying this is really a big problem. And until we went in, if we didn't do the job, that place would be burning down just like the houses burned down. They were in big trouble last night, Peter. You know it. And the night before, and the night before that. And I feel we had no choice. I don't want to see happen what happened so many times in this country. I watched Minneapolis burn. Look at what happened in so many different parts of California. You take a look at what happened in San Diego. There's so many different places where we let it burn. We wanted to be politically correct. We wanted to be nice. We wanted to be nice to the criminal. And what you're doing is destroying the fabric of our life in this country. What
do you make of the fact that he says you want a civil war on the streets of America?
No, that's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war. A civil war would happen if you left it to people like him. And I liked him. I always got along with him. Never had a problem with him. But he's grossly incompetent.
Yeah, to say the least.
And he wouldn't, if he interferes with ICE making arrests, President Trump said, yeah, he should get arrested.
Gavin Newsom he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes him, but listen.
What do you make of the fact that he says?
Well, and also, too, I think that Governor Newsom, he wants to get arrested. He wants that photo op. He thinks that is actually a good look, that would help him become president someday.
He's doing TV interviews.
He's a drama queen.
Yeah, where is he on the streets?
He's not. I mean, I'm just saying that.
So how is he going to get arrested?
He could find out where the next ICE raid is and try and stop it. I wouldn't put it past him. He's so slimy and slick. I don't know. Watching their city burn and people waving flags to a country that they don't want to go back to. Talking about the Mexican flag and the Palestinian flag and those Ubers that you saw burning. They ordered them there to the scene to burn them.
So let's understand something about Gavin Newsom. Let's try and shed a little light on this subject here before we jump around all over the place. Gavin Newsom is doing podcasts. He's sitting in interviews with his, costumes on. He is not a activist. He's not a frontline guy. He's a windblown political hack. He is, yes, Trump is right. He likes the publicity, but that's just Trump trolling Gavin Newsom. That's the equivalent of Canada as the 51st state. Yeah. Arrest Gavin Newsom. He's not going to get arrested. He's not going to intercede. He is a house cat. So, I mean, this is all misdirection. Let's make it about Trump and Newsom rather than about law enforcement and removing people in this country who are here illegally and who are bad hombres, to borrow a phrase from a bygone era. I mean, just to refresh our recollection, Mexican national and known gang member with a conviction for sexual battery, receiving stolen property, and theft. A previously deported Mexican national, known gangbanger with convictions for assault with a deadly weapon and possessing drug paraphernalia. A Mexican national with a conviction for assault with a deadly weapon causing great bodily injury in L.A., and so on and so forth. Bill Malugin for Fox News continues to provide the receipts, as they say, and so let's just keep our focus here and not let CNN pull us into this phony Newsom versus Trump dichotomy.
Well, here's Tom Homan, because one case is grotesque.
We also arrested significant criminal public safety threats. You mentioned it. Several rapists, child sexual predators, people that committed murder, people that committed significant domestic violence, and one was a penetration of a foreign object into a young lady.
What else is new? I mean, we know we started at this. 66,000 some odd arrests have been made by ICE since Trump took office. They're trying to increase their daily numbers, but we went into this knowing that we had upwards of 700,000 people in this country illegally with a criminal conviction or facing criminal charges. Yep. It's a big job. Lewis in Brenham, Texas.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Real quick to kind of hit on what you just said, Dan. I was a Marine stationed there at Camp Pendleton for 10 years, and almost every day on the news, you would hear about a violent crime committed by an illegal alien who was in the country illegally. Sometimes they were affiliated with the gangs, the cartels, and sometimes they weren't. But, it happens more often than what people realize. Just because you don't live in that city, you're not hearing that news. The same way I'm not hearing the same news that's going on in Chicago every day. So people need to keep that in mind before they jump to conclusions. The other thing is I noticed the governor and the mayor yesterday, they didn't seem too concerned for their own citizens. They made a lot of pleas for Trump and the administration to stop this civil war and stuff like that, but they did not ask their citizens to stop the violence, to stop throwing the Molotov cocktails at the police, to stop vandalizing. They didn't seem to be worried about their own citizens. They seem to be inciting more violence by blaming Trump and blaming everybody else, but not in stopping the violence that's happening into their own city. Even the police chief went as far as to say that he will not tolerate violence within his city. So, I don't understand how they're not trying to help their own city stay beautiful instead of inciting this violence and blaming someone else.
Thanks for the call, Lewis. Even the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, the LA Times, Mexican president condemns LA violence, calls on Mexicans to act peacefully. If only members of the congressional delegation from California would say the same, and we'll have more from them at 5:38.
But now let's go into the newsroom.
Good morning. It's 56 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is criticizing President Trump's deployment of federal troops to Los Angeles amid ongoing immigration protests.
Speaking from the Capitol, Jeffries emphasized the constitutional right of Americans to peacefully assemble and petition the government.
These people have zero credibility on the other side of the aisle when it comes to issues of law and order.
He condemned the Trump administration and, in his words, extreme MAGA Republicans for intentionally inflaming the situation. He reiterated that while peaceful protest is protected, any unlawful behavior should be addressed by appropriate authorities. I'm Mark Mayfield.
ICE arrests are rising under the Trump administration.
A White House spokesperson says 100,000 arrests have happened this year, which marks a big jump from last year. According to government statistics, in fiscal year 2024, ICE arrested 113,000 people, while the Trump administration is approaching that number in only 6 months. I'm Brian Shook.
This report is sponsored by Starbucks. The Starbucks Summerberry Refresher is back. Notes of raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry shaken with ice and poured over raspberry-flavored pearls. Make it yours. Try it with lemonade or coconut milk. Available for a limited time. Summerberry Refresher is ready at Starbucks. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Mike Gallagher is witnessing evil.
A guy from Egypt screaming Free Palestine named Mohammed, lighting Jews on fire in Boulder, Colorado, and CNN is upset at calling what appears to be an obvious terror attack a terror attack. My gosh, this is what we're up against. We're up against a brand of evil that we've never seen before.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Charlie Kirk at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. For this free information, call 800-422-1609. 800-422-1609. 800-422-1609. Or simply visit godra.com.
Everybody seems to be more health conscious these days, worrying about their weight, what they eat, what they put into their bodies. And if you're in pain, taking pills to mask the pain is not the answer. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Please listen up. There is hope to end your chronic pain due to arthritis or an injury, and that's QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is different. These are not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You will meet Medical Director Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your own body's healing power and helps restore damaged tissue. So say goodbye to chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a candidate. The consultation is free with appointments on weekdays and Saturdays. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Now, your official weather forecast.
A bit of hazy sun for today. Breezy. That haze coming from distant wildfire smoke. High 80. Clear tonight, low 63. Hazy sun, breezy, warm day tomorrow. The high up to 90. For Thursday, clouds and sun, scattered thunderstorms. The high 77. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Something else that Trump said yesterday under questioning from the D.C. press corps as he was moving about the country. The characterization of those who are engaged in violence in L.A.
People that are causing the problem are professional agitators. They're insurrectionists. They're bad people. They should be in jail. Thank you.
Insurrectionist has been called. Uh-oh. That triggered the panel over at CNN, Dana Bash and Stephen Collison, who's a quote-unquote reporter for CNN. A couple of propagandists is what they are. Anyway, this was their response to the use of the word insurrectionist.
It's like you queued him up, Priscilla. That word he used, they're insurrectionists. That I can't imagine that was an accident, because it seems as though that is the place that the White House is trying to get. And for the president, it's icing on the cake that he can do it in the state of California, because on a whole host of issues, he has had California, Gavin Newsom in particular, in his sights. The question he was asked was about Newsom daring Tom Homan to come and arrest Newsom. And the president responded, I would do it. and then he said Gavin wants the publicity.
This is a very serious word that's being thrown around now, insurrection. That's a rebellion of the states or people in the states against the federal government. That is not something to be trifled with. If, for example, to your point, the president were to invoke the Insurrection Act, I think we would have yet another legal morass. It would be another instance of the way that the White House is trying to declare emergencies or insurrections in order to unlock vast powers which most presidents don't have access to.
It's very frightening times, the use of the word insurrection or insurrectionist from a president of the United States, the invocation of emergency powers, the deployment of National Guardsmen, isn't it?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, or you could text us too.
Or is it? I'm unclear. So the precedent that was set, the precedents that have been set, the left was warned over and over again that the precedents you set will come back to haunt you, particularly if you have a president like Trump who is happy to go tit for tat and happy to expose what you did by doing the same in terms of invoking the power, but to use it in a different direction, in the direction of law and order as opposed to lawlessness. Big difference. But in terms of the invocation of the power itself, boy, the questionable invocation of emergency powers, say the COVIDians.
Oh, yes.
The use of the term insurrectionist to describe rioting, say the J6ers, the J6 truthers. It's all coming back to me. Now it's starting to come into focus. How about for you? So boy, oh boy, the hand-wringing on that CNN panel, very difficult to be sympathetic to those concerns from those people who cheerled all sorts of dubious, if not grossly unconstitutional, invocations of federal power and demonized rioters into some sort of organized coup d'etat for the purpose of advancing their political flag, and that was it. That's the only purpose. It had nothing to do with law and order. It had nothing to do with saving our democracy. It had to do with scoring cheap political points by using rioters to smear everyone who voted for someone they didn't like. And now they talk of civil strife and emergency powers and the use of the Insurrection Act and constitutional crises. Something else about what we've seen over the weekend, and it's just pronounced in California, but it's not limited to California. We sort of have the same thing here. I mean, have you gotten a sense of the congressional delegation there, of the political power structure, more to the point, by watching the various people who constitute the congressional delegation in California on the news channels?
Yeah, I watched them. I've never seen them before, but I saw them over the weekend, and they all had this, same talking points that, Trump sent troops to manufacture chaos and violence. And the LAPD, they're handling the situation with the split screen of a car burning.
Yeah, Judy Chu, she's one of those members, Congress-humans. She had this to say, and that was exactly it, with the split screen of Waymos on fire.
You have outliers that throw things and cause damage. And so, yes, the LAPD came in and they called it an unlawful assembly. I believe that the LAPD has this underhand, and they are very, very experienced in riot control. So this is something that they can handle. We do not have to have the National Guard here. We certainly do not have to have the Marines here. This is a manufactured crisis, and we do not need the Insurrection Act, and that is an understatement.
Yeah, and then LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell had something different to say than the good Congresswoman.
We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll take backpacks.
So they got it under control. No, we're overwhelmed. McDonnell also not buying the narrative that the congressional delegation and others, Newsom, Bass, spinning that it was the presence of the National Guard that escalated the tension and the violence there.
Seeing the second and third day of this becoming increasingly more violent, to be able to say it's because of the National Guard, I can't, because there aren't enough on the ground at this point to make a difference. I've seen civil unrest a number of times before, and generally the second and third days are more violent than the initial phase. And so this is not much different from that pattern. But certainly, I think there's a number of things that cause people to come out. Much of it is they watch this and see it on TV, social media, whatever social media outlets they follow, or asking them or telling them to come down and be part of this. And they do that. And they come out here, and many come out and just want to see what's going on. They're out there with their cameras, but they're putting themselves in harm's way and potentially setting themselves up for a criminal future. When you look at some of the things that are happening here, somebody could easily be killed. And if you're part of that, then you're going to be facing those charges as well.
So a total of 42 people arrested Friday and Saturday, and Sunday another 40 arrested.
Norma Torres, Nanette Berrigan, Judy Chu, Maxine Waters. There's a certain there's a lot of things at play here. Yes, they're identitarians. Yes, they're race hustlers. Yes, it's not limited to these ghastly middle-aged to well past middle-age women. But the feminization of politics, that's got to be part of it too. Now, maybe that comes across as misogynistic, but I'm sorry.
I see what you're saying.
When you hear and thinking about California,
Governor Newsom's part of that too, though.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's part of the feminization. It is, and Eric Swalwell and Robbie Garcia and Ted Lieu and Adam Schiff. I mean, so
those aren't real men.
It's these shrill harridans combined with these Nancy boys. Can you still use that term? Well, I just did. And we see that in Illinois, too.
Oh, what's the worst?
I mean, it's Sean Castens and the Rajas and the Bill Foster. I mean, those are Nancy boys. I mean, there are no adult males, or very few that I can think of. And then you just think about the pantheon over the last several generations with Feinstein and Boxer and Kamala and Pelosi, obviously, the Queen Bee, and so forth. Katie Porter, it's just...
Oh, she's the thruple person, right?
The feminization of politics here has a lot to do with this, particularly when it comes to barbaric policies that are the result of sentimental dispositions. Doesn't it? I mean, don't you find it odd? There's such a concentration here in terms of the representation, what you're seeing from L.A. And yes, they're all reading from the same talking points, and they, the various iterations. Of course, No Justice, No Peace. Maxine has been doing this for 35 years, so she's the best at it. And she's really in her element here, like when she's out there taunting National Guardsmen.
What are you going to do? You going to shoot some kid who's afraid of you and run? You going to shoot an elected official? If you shoot me, you better shoot straight. I don't know why you're in my city.
I don't know why you're in my city, because the president ordered them there. And by the way, they are not on the front lines. They're protecting federal buildings. And she was at the federal prison trying to get that SEIU guy out of jail.
This octogenarian, race-hustling neo-Marxist taunting National Guardsmen. She's a member of Congress.
I know.
Are you going to shoot a kid? Are you going to shoot me? What? The great vanguard of our democracy on full display. All of these saviors of the republic, self-styled, on full display in California over the weekend.
And I just find it very odd that here in Illinois, Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson both have nothing on their schedules today. No public appearances, nothing going on. I think they're plotting on maybe how to handle this because supposedly there's going to be something outside the Dirksen Federal Building at 5:30, then pastors tomorrow, and then on Saturday they're mobilizing for some big event.
Well,
and I'm sure
June 14th is a nationwide day of defiance.
Right.
Yeah, that's a nationwide day of defiance. But since you brought up Jelly Belly, I mean, let's give credit where credit is due in talking about Nancy boys. Don't forget about J.B. Pritzker's clarion call in New Hampshire.
Oh, that's right.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now.
He's getting what he wants.
These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's getting what he wants, that mobilization, that disruption. Republicans and, entire metropolitan areas not knowing a moment of peace. And the chaos, the words they use, chaos and cruelty. Cruelty is a particular one. VDH takes up that word, cruelty, as well as chaos. Chaos? Chaotic? What is chaotic is allowing 12 million unaudited migrants into the U.S. ahead of those waiting for background checks and legal permission. Chaotic is 1,000 rioters in Southern California swarming ICE officers, endangering their safety and lives, and then being contextualized, excused, or even supported by the governor of the state, who supposedly is an upholder of our laws and their enforcement. Cruelty? Cruelty is overtaxing state social service facilities with hundreds of thousands of foreign nationals whose sheer numbers imperil the health care of California's own beleaguered citizen population. As far as cruel governance, perhaps it's defined as the highest gas prices in the nation while sitting atop some of the largest gas and oil reserves in the country. Cruel is watching poor people in Fresno buy gas at increments of $30 in cash rather than filling up their pickups at a prohibitive cost of $130. Cruel is the California high-speed rail boondoggle that has wasted nearly $30 billion without a single foot of track rail installed and may well be abandoned. Cruel are the state's ossified freeways, especially the 101, the 99, the I-5, that have remained unchanged in the last half century and record some of the deadliest traffic statistics per mile driven in the U.S. Cruel is what the state and city of Los Angeles did to their own residents during the recent fires. Cruel is a derelict mayor. Cruel was the L.A. deputy mayor who was arrested and convicted for reporting fake anti-Israel bomb threats. Cruel was the L.A. water and power director who allowed a life-saving reservoir to remain abandoned and empty. Cruel was the fire chief who obsessed over DEI while leaving scores of fire hydrants across the city inoperative, and so on. I think you get the picture.
That's great.
Yeah, let's talk about cruelty and chaos, shall we?
Well, I feel like Governor Pritzker wants the Summer of Love Volume 2, as one of our listeners called it,
What he wants is to position himself for president, and he doesn't care about what may come from the from their incendiary rhetoric that is directed at these professional agitators and insurrectionists, these
call to arms,
these revolutionary neo-Marxists that form the base of that neo-Marxist party. Phil in Maryville.
Morning. Yeah, these Democrats, they like to say this is a manufactured crisis by Trump. The manufactured crisis is them letting 20 million illegal immigrants in here, and it's going to alter our elections because when the census comes in 2030, they're going to get all these extra congressional seats, and Republicans are going to never win. I literally think it's criminal that they left the border open for all the illegals to come in. This is an indirect way for them to screw our elections up.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Phil. Well, the other thing, and Trump mentioned this, is, given our experience of the last several years, watching big cities burn and mid-sized communities like Kenosha burn, watching municipal authorities, leftists, of course, abandon their posts, vacate police precincts to the mob. You don't think that informs President Trump's thinking on this? And it should, because he knows what he's dealing with out there. We all do. Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Oh, hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Thanks for taking my call. Wasn't that long ago during the COVID times and that when you had governors and mayors and that, they were so mean and came with all their force of police and everything for people who were praying and singing hymns, and they were in a church minding their own business. They're in homes minding their own business. Some of them were at the beach running, doing a little jogging, trying to exercise. They would arrest them, throw them in jail and everything. And then, like you already brought up, January 6th, grandpas just crossed the line, just went into a place where they shouldn't have gone. And these people came after them with all this force, no justice for them, no due process. And now here are these people coming out of the woodwork to protect criminal, illegal aliens and stuff. Dan, this whole situation, and Amy, this situation is so sick, it makes me want to puke when I see the differential between the way they treat American law-abiding citizens and treat these illegal. It's absolute evil.
Thanks for the call, Craig. Well, as I said, as I keep saying, somewhere somebody is going to break through, and I say that from an electoral perspective. So when Karen Bass comes up for re-election, it's going to be interesting in L.A. So somewhere you're going to have some Center 8 candidate breakthrough where they wouldn't ordinarily, because the left has taken these urban centers and some of these blue states so far over the edge. George in Naperville.
Yeah, they need more politicians like Dirty Harry.
Yeah, thanks for the call, George. Unfortunately, he was only mayor of Carmel. That's not going to be
enough of a resume booster.
Yeah.
By the way, one of our listeners let us know, I forgot about this. Pritzker, he's going to be in D.C. on Thursday.
Yeah,
for that hearing
on
with
Sanctuary State.
With that is a cast of clowns with Hochul and Tim Walz, Tampon Boy.
Perfect timing. Oof. Perfect timing to see Jelly Belly on the national stage testifying against Sanctuary State, testifying on behalf of Sanctuary State policies when you see what's going on in L.A. When it comes to the enforcement of immigration law. Greg in Schaumburg.
Morning, Dan and Amy. What I would like you to discuss the legitimacy constitutionally that Trump has versus a state governor if there is a disagreement about the magnitude of civil unrest, meaning that if we go into the balance of the summer and a bunch of the blue states go up in flames, do the states have the ability to in any way throw out troops that Trump might send in? Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Well, I mean, these are case specific, but generally speaking, the president can activate the National Guard to enforce federal laws.
Right.
And so this is the National Guard aiding in the enforcement of federal laws in Los Angeles. To me, it's pretty straightforward. So that's fine. Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass want to sue. That's fine. Well, let's litigate it. No problem.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
This is a paid advertisement for legal services provided by Premier Disability Services. Premier Disability Services is not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. This advertisement was produced by Sequoia Media Group on behalf of Premier Disability Services, which is solely responsible for its content. Are you no longer able to work due to a recent injury or disability? This is an important message for you. If you're between the age of 45 and 63 and need help filing for disability benefits or were denied by your insurance company, Premier Disability can help. Call 800-560-1808. Whether you're a first-time filer or filed before and were denied, you'll pay nothing unless you are approved for benefits. Thousands of disability claims are unnecessarily denied each month. Work with a team who'll fight to get you the benefits you deserve, who understands the physical, emotional, and potential financial impacts and will share their insider expertise. But act now, because there are time limits to apply for benefits. If you're between the age of 45 and 63 and need help filing a disability claim or filed previously and were denied, call 800-560-1808. Call now.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560, The Answer. AM 560, The Answer.
You know, Dan, all these anti-ICE riots really taken away from Pride Month, I got to tell you. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, it'll all come together on the Nationwide Day of Defiance. That's June 14th. So we're going to prep you for June 14th. We've got the songbook. We'll do a little bit of a protest song sing-along at 6:06.
Warm up those vocal cords. It's now 6 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
It happened again last night. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After a 4th day of protests in Los Angeles against illegal immigration raids.
We've got probably a few hundred protesters. They've taken over the intersection, waving foreign flags, a lot of Mexican flags, and then it looks like we've got LAPD waiting to deal with this crowd. So we're seeing, I'd say about half the crowd just appears to be, just peacefully protesting, holding up their signs, things like that. And then there's another half of it that's masked up, wearing dark clothing.
And Fox's Bill Malutron reports those are the ones causing trouble. That's them throwing fireworks at law enforcement as President Trump sends in hundreds of Marines to protect federal buildings and doubles the National Guard presence with 2,000 more troops. California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom calls that inflammatory, immoral, and illegal, challenging the deployment in court. Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley tells Fox.
For Gavin Newsom to say that it's the arrival of the Guard that has somehow catalyzed this violence is so offensive when you talk about the incredible people that we have serving in the National Guard.
Protests have also spread to other cities, from Dallas to Tampa, New York to Boston.
Union leaders and hundreds more in Boston Circle Plaza demanded the release of SEIU President David Huerta, who was arrested in Los Angeles ICE raids over the weekend that have sparked chaos in California. Huerta was released later Monday night on $50,000 bond.
That's Daniel Coates with Boston 25 TV. There was a school shooting this morning in Austria. 8 people were killed. The mayor of the city of Graz says this gunman killed himself. There was a stabbing at a middle school in Paris, France. A student knifed a school employee to death. For a second day, the U.S. and China holding trade talks in London. President Trump says,
we want to open up China. And if we don't open up China, maybe we won't do anything. But we want to open up China. It'll be a great thing for China, a great thing for the rest of the world.
Talks last month reduced massive tariffs on imports that had halted a lot of U.S.-China trade. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 57 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Immigrant advocates in Chicago are calling President Trump's administrative actions fear tactics. A rally was held yesterday morning in Dealey Plaza to show support for immigrant communities after the president's latest immigration crackdown and travel ban. Just last week, some city leaders clashed with federal agents as several people were taken into custody at immigration facilities in the South Loop. Not everyone agrees with this stance. One of Mayor Johnson's top aides is leaving. City Chief Operating Officer John Roberson will join the Obama Foundation. His name is surfaced as a possible candidate to run the CTA. Roberson is the last official from Mayor Johnson's inner circle from the previous City Hall experience. The State Department of Healthcare and Family Services is warning the public about a data breach. The agency learned on February 11th that someone was conducting a phishing scam targeting HFS employees and attempting to gain access to their usernames and passwords. The total number of people impacted was 933, including 564 Illinois residents. The department has notified those affected. News is a service of Low T Center. Guys, have you been thinking about starting TRT? The time is now. You can visit any Low T Center or Synergix and get your consultation and test free. Don't let low testosterone slow you down this spring. Get the energy you need at Synergix or Low T Center. Offer limited. Book now at fixmylowt.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
It's almost time for AM 560's annual golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And once again, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as they support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. It's all happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. Enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560 The Answer.
Living with everyday pain is like having a voice that always says, no, you can't do that. No, you better sit this one out. It's no way to live. So if pain is affecting you, see how Relief Factor can help get you back to life on your terms. One where you say yes a lot more. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor's unique formula of natural ingredients does not just mask pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it for good. Whether it's your back, neck, joints, or muscles, Relief Factor can help you, as it has for so many others. So call 1-800-4RELIEF and give Relief Factor's 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day to get your life back. Just go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF, and see how you can say yes to more of everything you want.
They took everything. Our equipment, our supplies, it's all gone.
It's devastating. Every order is going to be delayed for months, and our customers are going to find someone else.
I don't know if we'll ever recover from this. We're already getting calls from clients checking on their orders.
Who knows how long it will take to get back on our feet? What were we thinking not upgrading our security?
Don't let a break-in devastate your business. Protect yourself with Goldilocks. They'll create a customized security solution for you. From commercial doors with keyless entry to 24/7 alarm monitoring, they have you covered. Learn more at GoldilocksInc.com and have a security technician conduct an on-site assessment of your business. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call Goldilocks now. 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicagoland's premier locksmith doors and security systems company since 1981.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 14 minutes. Outbound, 13 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Byrne Interchange, 11 minutes. Outbound, about 24 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 16 minutes. Outbound, about 16 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, You do have a right lane blocked due to an accident involving a box truck and a car. The ramp from northbound Tri-State to inbound Stevenson is blocked as well. Just keep that in mind. Traffic is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew. Anytime, anywhere, any place. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance and eliminate any surprises at quickdelivery.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
A bit of hazy sun for today, breezy. That haze coming from distant wildfire smoke, high 80. Clear tonight, low 63. Hazy sun, breezy, warm day tomorrow, the high up to 90. For Thursday, clouds and sun, scattered thunderstorms, the high 77. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So just, mapping out your weekend. Again, we've got a nationwide day of defiance that is set for June 14th.
That's also Flag Day and Trump's 79th birthday.
Yeah, but more importantly, it's a day of defiance. But now there's a lot going on.
There is.
It's called No Kings Day, I guess.
Oh, my God.
No
They're
Kings
getting really creative.
Is a day of protest occurring for the first time on June 14th. However, the weekend of June 14th overlaps with events like Pride and Juneteenth in some areas.
Oh, boy. How we've done it.
So it's important to ensure that no Kings events you're hosting don't detract or come into conflict with these events. I mean, it's the intersectionality when it manifests itself in, protest events is... there's a lot of troubleshooting to do.
And then it's the Army's 250th birthday, and they're going to have a celebration in D.C.
That's one of the things they're protesting,
right.
Of course. This is the counter to celebrating our armed services and the men and women who've served from the advent of our country. So here's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to check for events in your area. You or someone on your team should check to see if there are other community events happening in your area on June 14th. Look for I feel like I'm a one of these news readers on the local network affiliate.
This is good. The information we need.
Look for social media posts from elected officials, community organizations, and local activists. Check newspapers and newsletters. Search the web for events occurring on June 14th. Then what you do after you check the events, you connect with local event organizers.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
Reach out to the organizers, ask them about their event, how you can make sure your No Kings event can support their effort. Make the whole greater than the sum of the parts. Don't detract, you see.
And on a side note, other observances on June 14th, National Bourbon Day, National Strawberry Shortcake Day, and National Pop Goes the Weasel Day. But back to something more serious.
Yeah, we don't have time for that frivolity. We have a democracy to save. Probably 3 to 5 million Americans will be attending more than 2,000 public outdoor anti-Trump protests on No Kings Day, Saturday, June 14th. And thanks to the Kairos Center. Kairos, that's a Greek word.
Yeah.
Boy, John Cass is not going to like that.
Didn't you put that on your pita?
The Kairos Center, Kairos, I believe means like opportune time.
John Cass Collin.
Kairos Center for Religious Rights. No, excuse me. Kairos Center for Religions, Rights, and Social Justice. They have compiled a handy-dandy hymnal so that you're prepared to sing along and enjoy the protest songs and protest chants on No Kings Day. And I thought we'd just do a little bit of a warm-up here so that you're ready. I've got the I've got the hymnal here. I mean, this.
Okay, can I warm up my vocal cords? La da 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 da.
And again, I mean, we're being respectful of their religion. Their religion is secular humanism, and they've got a hymnal with songs to celebrate themselves as their own gods. All right. So, for example.
Okay.
Here we go. Neighbor, neighbor, can't you see?
I want to go to your house. And...
A little bit of backstory, if I can riff here.
Yes.
The version of this song originated in 2014 when organizer Avery Book, who I've heard is very good, heard an adaptation of the military cadence, What the Army Has Done to Me, at a Movement for Black Lives Action in Vermont. Mama, mama, can't you see what the system's done to me? And this action, he encountered, at this action, he encountered an Army veteran who heard in this adaptation a connection between the state violence he saw in war and the state-sanctioned police brutality directed at marginalized communities. So reflecting on this movement for universal health care in Vermont, Avery Book began to see politicians who deny citizens a right to adequate health care also as perpetuators of state violence. The song was then further adapted and an action taken to pressure Vermont's governor to fulfill a campaign promise to bring universal health care to the state, at which point the lyric was changed to Neighbor, neighbor, can't you see? That was from Mama, Mama, can't you see? Reflecting solidarity across movements and communities who suffer the results of political negligence and state-sanctioned violence. And with that...
Please.
Neighbor, neighbor, can't you see?
Thank you.
Neighbor, neighbor, can't you see?
Neighbor, neighbor, can't you see?
Why health care is what we need.
Health care is what we need.
Neighbor, neighbor, can't you see?
Neighbor, can't you see?
Why health care is what we need.
Why health care is what we need.
Oh, hospital closures got to go.
Hospital closures got to go.
Hospital closures got to go. You know this mean? Healthcare is a human right.
Healthcare is a human right.
That's why today we stand and fight.
Why today we stand and fight.
Healthcare is a human right.
Healthcare is a human right.
That's why today we stand and fight.
Today we stand and fight.
Hospital closures got to go.
Hospital closures got to go.
All right, so you get a little flavor now. We're sort of getting into it.
I'm feeling it. Music's going through my veins.
Let me offer something else up. Rich Man's House.
Oh.
This by Minka Wiltz and the Economic Human. Minka Wiltz and the Economic Human. The Economic Human Rights Choir of the New Freedom Bus Tour. Minka Wiltz and the Economic Human Rights Choir of the New Freedom Bus Tour, on the New Freedom Bus Tour. Rich Man's House is a powerful song that was birthed by poor and homeless families of the Kensington Welfare Rights Union during the New Freedom Bus Tour in 1998. I remember that. I got a T-shirt. It's a song that lifts up the power of the 140 million poor and low-income people in this country who are organizing to take back what is ours. The song has been sung at state capitals, eviction defense actions, always a good concert venue, mass meetings, bus tours, and in homeless encampments to lift up our dignity and humanity as poor and dispossessed people in a cruelly unjust society. Would you like to hear a few bars of
I can't wait.
Rich Man's House?
Yes, please.
I went down to Washington, D.C. I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. Woo! I went down to Congress. I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back, yeah.
Now that guy can actually sing.
Yeah, he's actually good. He's talented.
Let me offer up Rise Up. Rise Up is a song written in the wake of growing uprisings around the United States in 2016, responding to the unjust killings of black people. Michael Brown, Eric Gardner, Freddie Gray, Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, and others, by police. The militarized response to protests against the Dakota Access Pipeline on the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. The government's intentional disregard that led to the water crisis in Flint, Michigan, as well as worsening economic conditions experienced by the 140 million poor and low-income people in the country. You'll hear a constant reference to the 140 million poor and low-income people in the country. Government has served them so well. Anyway, rise up. This is going to be a crowd pleaser around the country on Saturday.
Rise up, come on and rise up. Rise up, come on and rise up. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. Rise up, we're gonna rise up. The powers that be can't keep us down. The powers that be can't keep us down. We're gonna rise up and turn the world around.
Let me just make a recommendation because I don't know if there'll be enough tambourines for everyone.
Right.
So
should
please
we make our own?
Bring your own. Yes.
Yeah.
Jim in LaGrange, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy. Am I detecting a hint of Jan Schakowsky in the background? Is she involved in these musical musings? Because I'm getting the vibe, man, and you can't get enough of the sweet sounds of Jan. You got to play that stupid song again. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, we got to pull that.
Oh.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, that was during the heady days of protesting the early retirement packages and buyouts for federal employees. Yeah, we'll see if we can effort that. Mike in Littleton, Colorado.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. Good morning. You know, you had mentioned, the feminization of politics. I think it goes beyond that. This is the infantilization of politics where there isn't an adult among these people. And what amazes me is they demand the surrender of people who produce and create, that we completely capitulate and surrender, and they produce nothing. And the fact that we even, I think our greatest sin is we even argue with these idiots. We ought to call them for what they are and continuously poke them in the eye with it. To get at ground level, like with this Newsom scumbag and all that, call him out for what he is and treat him for what he is.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
You know what else is June 14th? Alex Soros and Uma Abedin's wedding.
Wow.
In the Hamptons.
That's not very considerate. They should be on the front lines for the
well, they're sponsoring it. Right?
The Day of Defiance. Well, yeah, but they got to be out there. The people are counting on their leadership.
The puppet masters, they'll direct from.
I mean, who is going to lead? Say
what?
This little ditty.
Okay. We're gonna heal the hate in this nation. We're gonna heal the hate. We choose democracy in this nation. We choose democracy. We're gonna heal. We're gonna heal the hate in this nation. We're gonna heal the hate. We choose democracy in this nation. We choose democracy. We're gonna heal. We're gonna heal the hate in this nation. We're gonna heal the hate. We choose democracy in this nation. We choose democracy.
I gotta tell you, I don't hate the arrangement.
We choose democracy in this nation. We choose democracy.
Now, I should, by the way, if you have a song that you prefer or an original composition you'd like to include, please do give us a call.
312-642-5600. If you want to sing a song yourself, phone lines are open.
Now, of course, one of the featured acts here are the Peace Poets, very popular in these circles.
Are they out of Vermont? Just sounds like something out of Vermont.
The Peace, I mean, I think they transcend geography. Yeah. I think, probably their most popular offering is Liberation, Our Liberation. Let me see if I can come up. Let me see.
Can I read a text message while you're looking for it?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Since it's all about Bob, the engineer, my 44th wedding anniversary is June 14th.
Okay. Well,
Happy
good.
birthday. Good.
Yeah, you can You can celebrate your wedding anniversary after you attend the Uma and Alex reception. Then you take it to the streets with them.
My liberation is your liberation, and your liberation is my liberation. So let me hear people say, let's get free. Let's get free. Say, let's get free. Let's get free. My liberation is your liberation, and your liberation is my liberation. So let me hear people say, let's get free. Let's get free. Say, let's get free. Let's get free.
Mm-hmm.
Try it
The Peace Poets.
Okay.
It's pithy.
Not bad.
Yeah. This
Well,
one.
This is fun. I love this.
And I like the ones that are participatory too. Hands Off. Now, this is best done in C minor, so take note. This is from Joel McGlynn and Carrie Klein of Hot Glue in the Gun.
Okay.
The backstory on the song, I know you're interested.
No, I am. Honestly,
was originally written to be sung in the streets during the National Day of Action on April 5th of this year.
Oh, I missed that one.
This was the rise up to confront the Trump administration and Elon Musk's ruthless assaults on Social Security, Medicare, SNAP, reproductive freedom, and immigrant and poor communities. From coast to coast, people took the street with rallies, marches, and pop-up protests to demand justice and fight back. Joel and Carrie, Hot Glue in the Gun, led this song as part of the New York City March, raising their voices alongside the Kairos Center, NYC's Poor People's Campaign, Iglesia del Pueblo, and others to lift a sound of defiance and hope in the face of justice. I hope you like it.
Hands off. Hands off.
Our democracy.
Hands off.
Hands off.
Our democracy.
Hands off.
Hands off.
Our beloved community.
Social Security. Hands off.
Hands off.
Social Security. Hands off.
Hands off.
Social Security. Hands off.
Hands off.
Our beloved community. How about our bodies?
How about our bodies?
Hands off.
Hands off
our bodies. Hands off.
Hands off.
Our
bodies.
Hands off.
Hands off.
Our beloved community.
Here comes the bridge.
Oh, here's the bridge.
Our beloved community.
You mean the refrain? No.
It says hands off.
Hands off.
How about our workers? Hands off.
Hands off.
Our workers. Hands off.
Hands off.
Our workers. Hands off.
Hands off.
Our beloved community.
Yeah.
You know what?
Joel and Carrie, Hot Glue in the Gun.
It's really
Mm-hmm.
Hot Glue in the Gun. Well, yowza.
And this will be, I assume, probably the encore song
Is this okay?
at the Day of Defiance concert you attend, wherever you may choose. And again, make sure to go on the web, look for other events in the Pride category. What else?
Pride's getting hijacked by this anti-ICE movement.
And
I don't know if they're going to accept that.
And Juneteenth.
Oh, then
too.
we have Juneteenth?
Yeah, so check your convention in your area, then connect with local organizers to make sure that you're properly collaborating. But here's this will definitely be the encore song. This is a classic.
Okay.
An adaptation of the Black spiritual Satan, Your Kingdom Must Come Down.
Oh boy.
You know it.
Trump, your kingdom must come down. Trump, your kingdom must come down. Oh, I heard the voice of the people say, Trump, your kingdom must come down. Hatred, your kingdom must come down. Hatred, your kingdom must come down. Oh, I heard the voice of the people say, hatred, your kingdom must come down. Racism, your kingdom must come down. Racism, your kingdom must come down. Oh, I heard the voice of the people say, racism, your kingdom must come down. Poverty.
We need to get like Van Morrison or some of those artists who did anti-COVIDian songs during the lockdowns to offer some counter artistry.
Yeah.
They got some good singers though.
I know they've got wide vocal range, can keep the beat. I like it.
Tony, Southside.
Tony.
Good morning, Amy, Lamb, and Dan. Hey, not to throw hate down in this glorious week, but that last song, Hands Off, it's got one verse. Hands off the fucking guitar.
Hands off hello. Geez. Tony on the South Side working blue today.
Gosh, Tony, where's the anger come from?
No.
Man, I've never heard him drop a bomb like that.
Yeah, those probably a little bit too much folk music for 6 in the morning. Yeah, I get it.
I feel like I'm at church.
Mike in Union. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Dan,
sure you do.
Hey, Dan, we've got to be fair and balanced. The U.S. Army used Led Zeppelin to flush out Noriega and Panama, so maybe ICE can have a theme song of the Stormtroopers by Iron Maiden when they move forward, and see what happens.
Yeah, right. Or maybe you got another thing coming.
Yeah, Yeah, those are both good.
Bob in Buffalo Grove, who's preparing to celebrate his wedding anniversary at the Day of Defiance this weekend.
Yes.
No King's Day.
Can't forget that.
No King's Day.
Always good talking to you. Here's some more songs. I don't think you've ever played them. Ice Holman. Look it up.
No, sing a few bars for us there, Bob.
Ice Holman. Ice Holman.
Dog
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Bob, you know what?
Have a good
happy anniversary, and I love that your dog Fred was singing along with you.
Thanks for
Yeah, he's back in the back in the car. He just loves car rides. Say hello, Fred. You want to go for a car ride? Come on. I don't know if you can hear the whining.
Oh, he's so cute. So Bob loves taking care of older dogs, rescue dogs. He takes them in. So
thanks, Bob.
We appreciate you. Thanks, Bob. He's the best.
And, and I think Vanilla Ice was Robert Van Winkle.
Yeah, I know Van Winkle. I don't know what his first name was.
Anyway.
But we'll play it on maybe for a bumper music.
I think he's going to be suing Bob and or whoever came up with Ice Holman. Like Queen sued him.
Yes.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Barbecue, bags, and brews on the driveway sounds great about now, but are you ready to entertain on that dirty, oil-stained area you call your backyard? Why bother putting up the party lights in the garage when it'll only highlight the oil spills and stains on the concrete? No oil stain removal is too big or too small for Cabino Environmental. Homeowners and business owners can use the Cabino Oil Stain Remover. It's the most powerful oil stain lifting formula on the market. This is not the same stuff you think you can buy at the big box store. This is a concentrated stain lifter that goes deep into the concrete or brick for superior cleaning. You simply pour it onto the soiled area, let dry, and brush away. It really is that simple. If you need an expert that can come in and clean up the spill, click on CabinoEnvironmental.com. Their environmental response team will come to the rescue. For stains on your residential garage floor, patio, around the barbecue, parking lot, or driveways, go to CabinoEnvironmental.com to purchase the Cabino Oil Stain Remover. Can't wait? Cabino Oil Stain Remover is now available at your local Rental Max.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. I looked at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
AM 560, The Answer.
People asking if there's like there's like an album of the No Kings protest songs on Spotify. I don't know. You know, I grew up in the days of the K-Tel record.
Oh.
And that's what I'd like maybe them to come out with a K-Tel version of their leftist protest songs. But, you know.
Did you have a record player in your bedroom?
Kind of fun.
Common area?
Kind of fun.
Yeah. Didn't answer the question. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, our top story, Ozempic penis. Real or urban myth? 6:36.
Whoa, Ozempic. All right, but now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 57 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says a person who allegedly threw rocks at federal law enforcement vehicles during protests in Los Angeles County has been identified.
A federal officer was injured by thrown rocks Saturday during protests in Paramount, California.
And they are doing a search warrant on his house as we speak.
On Fox News, Bondi said the suspect can run, but he can't hide. And if anyone loots a store or spits on police officers, the feds are coming after you. Bondi says federal law enforcement has the authority to go after looters and others committing crimes under the Hobbs Act. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says her city is, quote, being used for an experiment.
This is the federal government brings in the National Guard and Marines to counter immigration protests.
This kind of atmosphere, it creates a chaos in our city. People not sure whether they should go outside, whether they need to stay inside. We did not need this.
Bass says it makes her feel like it's a test for what happens when the federal government moves in and takes the authority away from the state or away from local government. She pushed back against comments describing the city as being invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals, calling it a despicable description. The demonstration started Friday in response to immigration raids happening around the city. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance? It's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Everybody seems to be more health conscious these days, worrying about their weight, what they eat, what they put into their bodies. And if you're in pain, taking pills to mask the pain is not the answer. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Please listen up. There is hope to end your chronic pain due to arthritis or an injury, and that's QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is different. These are not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You will meet Medical Director Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your own body's healing power and helps restore damaged tissue. So say goodbye to chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a candidate. The consultation is free with appointments on weekdays and Saturdays. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find it in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or Amazon, or newnordicusa.com.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes. Outbound, 13 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 15 minutes. Outbound, 26 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 21 minutes. Outbound, 20 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 26 minutes. You've got stop-and-go delays. That's due to a crash that's blocking a right lane. The northbound ramp from Tri-State to inbound Stevenson is blocked as well. This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hurry into DQ for their sauced and tossed chicken strip baskets with flavor from the top, bottom, and everywhere in between. Try them today in Honey Barbecue or New Buffalo, only at DQ. Happy tastes good, only at participating Dairy Queen locations. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Hazy sun, breezy morning. That haze coming from distant wildfire smoke. High today 80. Clear tonight, low 63. Hazy sun, breezy warm day tomorrow. The high up to 90. Scattered thunderstorms on Thursday. High at 77. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Oh, yeah. Bring it in, ladies.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy.
We're getting serious here.
The battle has been joined. The competition has stiffened.
Oh.
All these guys walking around allegedly with Ozempic penis.
Okay, you mentioned this to me in passing yesterday, and I said, wait, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Real simple. The ladies want to know, and I did not read the article,
Why?
so I could be...
Why do they want to know? Size doesn't matter, I was told.
You guys, you're clueless, but okay.
So
ladies talk.
The question of whether or not Ozempic...
Oh, boy.
...enlarges your member. No, this is a thing.
Oh, gosh. Is this... are men starting to take Ozempic because of this?
Well, if they weren't, they're going to be now. You thought Viagra was popular. If this is true,
oh boy,
you better step aside, NVIDIA, because this is going to be the.
Oh no!
Make a lot of people.
You know what,
maybe you're going to have your first trillionaire. Whoever produces the most popular or the most effective in member extension. Didn't Jimmy Johnson used to flack for some placebo like this that was supposed to extend your... Yeah, he did.
Who did?
Jimmy Johnson, ironically enough.
Honestly?
Yes. Extends or something, I think it was called.
Oh, yeah.
So I've heard.
Yeah. I do remember that. I've heard rumblings.
This is like a Maha story. I mean, this is we need to investigate these health claims. This is from the New York Post. This is not like from my sick mind.
Or from the Babylon Bee. Or...
No. Male Ozempic users say their penises have gotten bigger since they started injecting the weight loss shot.
Okay, I'm going. going on.
There's a whole, Reddit community built around this.
Really? So they get the drawn, elongated face, but then they get something else. A little prize.
Who would make that trade-off?
Well, people do pay for things, for enlargements. So, I mean, this could be the answer.
I recently measured myself down there, and I noticed I gained about an inch. That's not me saying it. That's an anonymous user on Reddit.
An inch?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
it's all how you measure.
With a real ruler,
I think people.
That's a big difference.
Well, but part of it is, so the initial thing I thought was, okay, these guys haven't seen their member in a while.
That's what I was thinking too.
They
don't know what's down there. Like, oh.
They just got reintroduced to it, and so maybe it seems.
Yeah.
Objects in the mirror are. I recently measured myself down there, and I noticed gained about an inch. He said, now I think people say it because of the fat loss. However, at the time I measured myself before, 4 years ago, I was actually thinner.
Okay, you guys really do this? You measure?
I also, excuse me, we're talking science here. I also bone pressed during measurement before and also this time.
I don't know what that is, but I have a vague idea, and this is very uncomfortable.
Never heard it described so vividly. Other men claimed that they noticed a size difference as well. They put it down to better blood flow and reduced fupas. Now, somebody else, I mean, these are not exactly medical experts, but somebody else who may have more medical knowledge than some of the other Reddit commenters. Ozempic does not enlarge your penis, but an erect penis may change size considerably depending on the time of day, temperature, and factors other than sexual arousal, so it's probably just simply that. Interesting. It's a multivariate equation when you're solving for member size. Okay. Is the point. All right. Well, so I mean, anybody taking Ozempic or others? I think actually, Novo, which is the Ozempic company, just fired their CEO.
Really?
And the Eli Lilly weight loss shot is dominating the market, I think. So I don't know. Anybody who's on any of these weight loss shots.
Well, yeah, please call. Give us your home address, your name.
Well, no,
your
just
number.
give us
Well, you can use an alias.
Have you
or completely anonymous?
Have you bone pressed and measured it? And if so, what do you see? I mean, just trying to flesh this out.
Yeah,
if you will.
no, I get it. I mean, everybody's on Ozempic right now. I think Pritzker's on it. He's lost a lot of weight. Brandon Johnson's down 2 suit sizes.
Well,
MK,
maybe
our first lady, she's lost a lot of weight. She looks good.
Maybe they'll ask him about his penis size at the House Oversight Committee hearing. Rick in Downers Grove.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I think it's a proportion thing. When you got a gigantic gut, it's going to look smaller. But then as your gut gets smaller, they're going to think, wow, that thing's getting bigger. That's not the case. You're right. It's a proportion thing.
Yeah. Well, a friend of mine who was in the pharma arena and in the drug development space in pharma. So, like not an idiot, not just some sort of Reddit goofball. He says that no, it doesn't. It doesn't do that.
Well, a lot of
so I don't want to kill anybody's buzz here on this harsh.
Well, but it's a thing.
Game,
if the New York Post is writing about it, I mean, it is a thing.
Well, it's a thing people are talking about. It doesn't mean it's an actual thing.
I don't know.
There's no scientific confirmation on this.
I just don't know if I can read this text message. Make America hung again?
Well. Yeah,
okay. I just read it.
It's a spin on Maha.
It's very well known, Dan and Amy, that belly fat covers an inch of the penis.
Well, it can cover it, but it doesn't mean that it changed. But maybe you were, before you couldn't even see what you were measuring.
No.
Yeah.
If you can't put on your shoes either, you need help putting on your shoes.
But the only reason this discussion is happening is because it's about male self-confidence, and it's all related to male self-confidence with women.
Okay.
That's what I would argue.
Does it make women bigger down there too, Dan and Amy? My wife takes Ozempic and now has a. Okay, I can't read that.
Yeah, I saw that Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. I get where you're going.
Okay.
The Prime Minister.
Oh boy, here
Indiana.
Amy.
Oh boy.
Amy.
Oh boy. Yes.
Don't get me started on a frictionless surface. I am very, very depressed about the state of the discussion of this Ozempic side effect.
Okay.
Hurry up. Come on.
And?
Well, I'll say this. Where the rubber meets the road, and I'm talking about the birth control device thrown out the window, this kind of discussion belongs on other radio shows, not the perspicacious radio show of Prof University.
No, I can completely disagree. Thanks, Pete. This is a story about science and debunking potentially a myth that some men may be operating under, and may use this as an incentive to take Ozempic, not just for the weight loss, but for this alleged added benefit. When in point of fact, you should just diet and exercise.
Yeah, right.
That's
Do it
what
the
I say.
honest way.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Here we go. If this is true, shouldn't Ozempic be manufactured by the Upjohn Company? From the Amish texter, I don't get it.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
it. Okay. Related story. Why Dan Prof? Well, so the competition here.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's not true, there are going to be guys that are a lot more confident now because they feel like it's true. It's sort of a placebo effect.
We have a success story here.
Chris and Joliet.
This is probably the call that all my friends are going to hear, and I hate that idea. But I lost 56 pounds on Wegovy. And if you put on that kind of weight, you realize you start to put on like a second gut in your pelvic area. That gets fat too.
Mm-hmm.
So when you lose that weight in your pelvic area, you have more exposed, so to say.
So has it happened to you?
Probably.
So do you?
Yeah.
It did.
Well. Of course, he lost 56 pounds, but you think it's
Ozempic elongates the
There's been an enhancement.
No, it's totally due to losing the weight, fat around that area.
All right. Okay. All right.
Well, are you still on Wegovy, or are you weaning yourself off, or what's the end game?
Weaning, really?
Well, you can't just stop cold turkey. You can take lower dosages.
Yeah.
Are you on 5 or 10
skip a
milligrams?
Shot. Wegovy only goes up to 2.4.
Oh, interesting.
And I've got about 20 pounds left that I still want to lose, and then I'll start weaning myself off.
So how many shots do you do a day?
You only take one shot a week.
Oh, interesting.
What are the other side effects, if any, positive or negative?
Well, they're mostly negative. There's some constipation and gas is pretty much it.
That's it, though? That's
very attractive. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. All right, Chris. Well, that'll certainly guard against the alleged elongation if chicks know that you got that problem. And you're going to talk about it. Joe in Naperville.
Yeah, newsflash, guys. There was a shipment of Ozempic that was just robbed overnight. They're looking for 5 skinny, hardened criminals.
Hey-oh. That's pretty good, though.
By the way, while we're inventing weight loss drugs that may or may not enhance your member, the Chinese communists just gave blind mice their sight back and let a monkey see infrared light. So maybe we should focus on more important endeavors. But anyway.
Another text message. Dan and Amy, after this bit on the show, listen carefully, and you will hear the sound of 1,000,000 tape measures retracting.
Yeah, you measure twice there.
Cut once. Oh, hey.
That's what the Moyles say.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local, family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So, I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Perfect segue. It's time for gatherings with friends, family, and outdoor activities this spring. But how are you going to keep up if low testosterone is draining your energy?
Woo!
The answer, TRT with Synergen X and low testosterone. They might seem convenient, but many online TRT services can be a hassle to get started. You end up spending hundreds of dollars and wasting time, so don't fall for it. Trust the experts at Synergen X and Low T Center. It's who I trust. They've been changing patients' lives for a combined 25 years. They understand what guys need. They're in person and make it easy to get started. You can start today with a free consultation and free testosterone test. Best thing about it, it's free and fast. They have on-site labs to process your test quickly, and if you qualify, you can start treatment that day. They also have locations across Chicagoland. And for guys looking to lose a few pounds and not fall prey to the siren song of enhancement, don't listen to those anonymous posters on Reddit. Guys looking to lose a few pounds, Synergen X and Low T Center make it easy with prescription weight loss medications. Most major health insurance is accepted, so you have no excuse. Offer is limited, so right now, go to fixmylowt.com to book your appointment. That's fixmylowt.com. You'll be glad you did.
Virago is fending off viruses and making America healthy again.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-founders of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Virago contains 23 natural ingredients that work synergistically to boost your immune system. Virago's natural ingredients also protect your heart, your brain, and your liver through its anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Virago also promotes healthy gum health. So go to myvirago.com, that's myviro.com, and use promo code IMMUNE to get 30% off. And remember, Maha starts with Virago.
Boost your immune system with Virago. Order your bottle today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myviro.com.
And use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%.
That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Speaking of your health, everyone seems to be doing it, not taking Ozempic or Wegovy. They're helping their achy joints due to arthritis or an injury. And we're talking about QC Kinetics. It's regenerative treatments where you use your own body's natural properties to heal the achy joints. Got a text message from Tracy. Amy, I started going to QC Kinetics after hearing your commercials on your show for over a year now. I am 2 treatments in for knee arthritis and severe thumb CMC joint arthritis. So far, so good. I'll keep you posted. So if you want to be like Tracy, be one of the cool kids and try something different, don't get surgery. Try QC Kinetics first. Don't be addicted to those pain pills, things like that. It's not going to go away. But QC Kinetics, they're here to help you. They're going after the very source of the pain. So say goodbye to chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics. The consultation is free, with appointments weekdays and Saturdays. So contact my good friends at QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
AM 560, The Answer.
That sound means it's time for in-depth history with Frank, the history teacher from Arlington Heights, because there's nothing new in this world, just the history you don't know, and Frank does. Frank, take it away.
Good morning. December 1903, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The Wright brothers successfully loft their biplane to become the first in flight. Oh, the possibilities. Well, one such possibility that the Okhrana, or the Russian secret police, worried about in 1909 was that radical socialist revolutionaries might load up such a biplane with explosives and fly it into the Winter Palace. It was so worrisome they monitored flight schools and tried to develop countermeasures. It's tragic our own well-funded and high-tech intelligence agencies didn't think as such 24 years ago. Now, when I visited Pearl Harbor this last winter, one detail I learned was that the Japanese used a special Type 99 anti-ship bomb when striking the American fleet, just sitting there at Pearl Harbor. And the direct hit on the USS Arizona's munitions arsenal created a blast so powerful that it momentarily lifted the entire 30,000-ton battleship completely out of the water. 2,403 Americans died that day, many of them instantly. I'm sure some, though, were trapped in compartments and had a more horrific ending. Their remains are still down there. This barbarism enraged our country such that tens of thousands of young men here in Chicago formed lines several miles long downtown on December 8th to volunteer. Much comparison has been made of the recent Ukrainian drone attacks on Russia being their Pearl Harbor. In some ways, maybe. They lost strategic bombers just like the U.S. lost battleships, both weapons of the past. But what will be Putin's response? It seems as if some on our side want to stir up a full-scale war to invoke NATO's Article 5. My bet is Putin doesn't take the bait. It should also be mentioned to sanctions king Lindsey Graham that it was the U.S. embargo against Japan that backed them into a corner, resulting in their brutal sneak attack. It's probably best to not completely encage this nuclear-armed bear. We don't need another Pearl Harbor, 9/11, or worse.
Interesting. Yeah, I went to, I visited the USS Arizona, Pearl Harbor, many, many years ago. It's really an experience, isn't it?
It really is eerie. You don't think so when you're going out on the boat.
Until you get there.
When you get there and you're on that concrete island they created, and then you see the oil coming out.
The oil bubbling up, yeah.
Yeah, it really is something.
Yeah.
It's still bubbling up.
Yeah, it is something. Frank from Arlington Heights and In-Depth History with Frank. Thanks as always. Well done, Frank.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we'll return to our second top story behind Ozempic penis, which I have an update on.
There's an update?
We'll have an update on that in the 7 o'clock hour. But at 7:07, we'll talk L.A. riots and immigration policy with Noah Rothman.
Today, we're going to have breezy conditions this morning, otherwise hazy sunshine. That's the word for the summer so far. A high of 80 degrees. Then tomorrow, hot and humid, a high near 90 degrees. It is now 7 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
They vow to keep protesting. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
He comes out and sends 700 Marines and National Guard. We're going to come out and fight against this injustice.
That was during the fourth night of demonstrations in Los Angeles against illegal immigration raids.
Thousands of protesters were once again on the streets of downtown L.A., but the LAPD operation, along with the Sheriff's Department and the California Highway Patrol, seemed a lot more efficient yesterday. They broke the protesters into various groups. They continually pushed them back using tear gas rounds, using flashbangs, using, in some cases, rubber bullets.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in L.A., where Mayor Karen Bass says President Trump's made things worse.
This was chaos that was started in Washington, D.C. On Thursday, the city was peaceful. On Friday, it was not because of the intervention of the federal government.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom, also a Democrat, is challenging the Marine and National Guard deployment, says immoral and illegal, trying to incite a civil war. The president says,
no, that's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war. A civil war would happen if you left it to people like him.
The protests have spread to other cities from Dallas to Boston to New York. Now an update on a Gaza protest. Climate activist Greta Thunberg is being deported by Israel the day after she and other activists were on a boat carrying aid to Palestinians intercepted.
The activists said they were protesting the war and the ongoing humanitarian crisis. Thunberg has been put on a flight to France, but some others have refused and are being held in detention. Israel described the vessel as a selfie yacht and pointed out that it carried less than one truck's worth of aid.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. A gunman opened fire in a school this morning in the city of Graz in Austria. 8 students and an adult were killed. The shooter killed himself. At a middle school in Paris, France, a 15-year-old student stabbed an employee to death. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 57 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Pro-immigration activists in Chicago are protesting the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Illinois Congressman Jesus Chuy Garcia spoke to the crowd as they gathered for a rally yesterday at Dealey Plaza.
This isn't about safety. This is about control. Fear is the tactic. Silence is the goal.
Protesters also gathered for a rally in front of the Chicago Police Department headquarters. The protests come in response to ICE agents detaining individuals last week in the South Loop. Demonstrators accuse CPD of helping ICE with crowd control. A federal judge is rejecting Michael Madigan's request for a new trial. The judge denied a motion yesterday filed by the former Illinois House Speaker's lawyers seeking to overturn his conviction on bribery and other corruption counts. The ruling comes just days before Madigan's set to be sentenced on Friday. Federal prosecutors have asked for a 12.5-year prison sentence. The family of a man who died after falling from scaffolding at a hospital construction site on the south side last year is reaching a settlement in the wrongful death lawsuit. David O'Dowd's family settled the suit for just over $23 million. The lawsuit was filed after the technical engineer fell from scaffolding that collapsed back in June of last year at the University of Chicago Medical Center site. Turner Construction and Adjustable Forms were named in the suit, which claimed the scaffolding wasn't built properly. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance? It's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. I check the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Hugh Hewitt explains what the bill will do for America.
And the One Big Beautiful Bill Act extends the Trump tax cuts of 2017, makes them better, deeper, wider, stronger, more growth-oriented. So we want that to get through the Senate so we can have a growth economy.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Is it time to get your children and grandchildren out of the godless government schools? You cannot allow your loved ones to be forcibly subjected to ungodly psychological examinations and perverse sexual teachings. You would not send your child to a school that teaches 2 + 2 is 5. What is being taught today is far worse and damaging to minds and hearts. We can help through our on-campus Christian school and homeschool program. For over 55 years, Christian Liberty has operated a Christian school now located in Arlington Heights, and we have served hundreds of thousands of families across our nation and foreign countries through our homeschool program, Christian Liberty Homeschools. Visit ChristianLiberty.com to learn more or to schedule a tour of our excellent 12-acre facility in Arlington Heights and learn about our educational programs. Take action today. Visit ChristianLiberty.com. Experience the best in our on-campus Christian school and homeschool program and get more information at ChristianLiberty.com.
Living with everyday pain is like having a voice that always says, no, you can't do that. No, you better sit this one out. It's no way to live. So if pain is affecting you, see how Relief Factor can help get you back to life on your terms. One where you say yes a lot more. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor's unique formula of natural ingredients does not just mask pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it for good. Whether it's your back, neck, joints, or muscles, Relief Factor can help you, as it has for so many others. So call 1-800-4RELIEF and give Relief Factor's 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day to get your life back. Just go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. And see how you can say yes to more of everything you want.
Are you growing your manufacturing team this year and need new employees?
turn to Monarch Technical Services in Rolling Meadows. They've been leading the Chicago staffing industry for manufacturing and engineering since 1987. You'll appreciate their vetting process, payment terms, and dedication towards excellence. They meet every candidate in person to interview and test for specific skills. Monarch assesses experience by using blueprint, shop math, part measurement, and CNC program exams. Monarch Technical offers unique payment terms. You now have 6 months to pay the finder's fee, and if for any reason the candidate leaves your employment, the fee ends. This allows you to make sure direct hire employees are fitting in before fees are paid in full. So if you're growing your manufacturing team this year and searching for exceptional talent and attractive payment terms, contact Monarch Technical Services at 847-342-1221 or visit them online at monarchtechnical.com. That's monarchtechnical.com. Continuing the privilege of enriching manufacturing for 38 years.
From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, about 16 minutes. Outbound, 13 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Byrne Interchange, 32 minutes. Outbound, 54 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 33 minutes. Outbound, 29 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 34 minutes. You've got a pretty solid traffic due to a right lane being blocked due to a crash. This is going to be affecting also northbound ramp from Tri-State to the inbound Stevenson. Just keep that in mind. And on the outbound side of the Stevenson, it'll be 31 minutes. Traffic is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
A bit of hazy sun for today, breezy. That haze coming from distant wildfire smoke, high 80. Clear tonight, low 63. Hazy sun, breezy, warm day tomorrow, the high up to 90. For Thursday, clouds and sun, scattered thunderstorms, the high 77. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So what we've been hearing from the California political power structure, that would be the governor, the LA mayor, and the congressionals mainly, who've been dominating the news talk shows, news in quotation marks, is that local law enforcement didn't need help. LA didn't need federal help to address the rioting. And Trump sent National Guardsmen and then sent some more anyway. They escalated. They manufactured chaos and violence. Now things are destabilized, and it's up to the locals to clean up the mess that Trump made. Okay.
All right, cut, scene, paste.
Well, you go ahead and you continue to try to sell that. One of the problems they have, in addition to the visuals coming out of L.A., is that they have a key player that is not going along with that agitprop on behalf of the professional agitators and others adjacent. And that's the police chief of L.A., McDonnell, who responded contra to what you heard from those members of the congressional delegation that chose to put themselves front and center, in addition to Mayor Bass and Governor Bateman there.
We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll take backpacks, and the backpack will have a cinder block in it. They have a hammer, and they'll break up the cinder block and use that, pass it around to throw at officers, to throw at cars, and throw at other people. We've seen people with hammers, and you've broadcasted, breaking the bollards behind the federal building and taking the rocks, if you will, or pieces of concrete, and throwing throwing them at officers. We've had liquid of who knows what description thrown at officers. There's no limit to what they're doing to our officers.
And Police Chief Jim McDonnell had this to say about the National Guard.
Seeing the second and third day of this becoming increasingly more violent, to be able to say it's because of the National Guard, I can't, because there aren't enough on the ground at this point to make a difference. I've seen civil unrest a number of times before, and generally the second and third days are more violent than the initial phase. And so this is not much different from that pattern. But certainly, I think there's a number of things that cause people to come out. Much of it is they watch this and see it on TV, social media, whatever social media outlets they follow, or asking them or telling them to come down and be part of this. And they do that. And they come out here, and many come out and just want to see what's going on. They're out there with their cameras, but they're putting themselves in harm's way and potentially setting themselves up for a criminal future. When you look at some of the things that are happening here, somebody could easily be killed. And if you're part of that, then you're going to be facing those charges as well.
So it's Trump and ICE and the National Guard and even local law enforcement. I mean, it's not an endorsement of Trump from McDonnell, but it's an endorsement of reality versus Newsom and Bass and the No Justice, No Peace Maxine Waters and her facsimiles in the congressional delegation there from California, combined with the professional agitators, people that are firing upon with cinder blocks and other things, firing upon police cruisers, trying to stop ICE operations, waving Mexican flags, lighting Waymo cars on fire, and so forth. I think that's a bad matchup for the left. I think that's a bad matchup.
Yeah, but it seems like a look they don't want to shed.
They don't.
Keep it going.
Well, that's fine. That's who they are, and that's who they are committed to being. Noah Rothman joins us now, senior writer at National Review, author of The Rise of the New Puritans, Fighting Back Against Progressives' War on Fun. Noah, is something we're missing about the strategic genius of Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass here?
Well, you did a pretty good roundup there of the press reactions. One thing I think we missed is, Los Angeles is really big. Do you know that? Super big.
Spread
Huge
out.
place.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, yeah, there's some parts of it that are ablaze, completely lawless, sacrifice to the mob, but not everywhere. So why should you care about it? Certainly the Angelenos shouldn't care about it unless it's right outside their front door, as though people shouldn't have any concern for their neighbors or understand that social unrest like this is a contagion that spreads, particularly when it's left unaddressed. That rounds up the media reaction pretty effectively. I'm much more disturbed by the Democratic Party's reaction at the level of local officials in California, at least for now. This could spread to the rest of the Democratic Party generally. But you see in the reaction a lack of comprehension about what occurred to this party over the course of the last 5-6 years, retreating to a lot of the language that we heard during the 2020 riots. And it's language that exposes, I think, a conceit on the part of Democrats that has really hindered them electorally, and it certainly should. It is the notion, unspoken on their part, but implicit and hard to ignore, that they understand these are their people. You hear it in how they talk about them. Karen Bass, Adam Schiff, Gavin Newsom, on and on, Kamala Harris. These people are not in control of their own actions. They are goaded into it. The forces of chaos in Washington have made them do these horrible things. They're victims. And also, it's really unhelpful, guys. They talk about the degree to which you shouldn't give them what they want. These are direct quotes. Donald Trump wants you to riot, right? He wants an excuse. He probably likes the violence he's seeing. He wants an excuse to crack down on you. Don't make our lives harder. Quote, don't let them succeed, according to Adam Schiff. All of these are appeals to rationality within this group, right? They're appeals to their shared sense of objectives and goals. The subtext is impossible to ignore. Guys, you're making our lives so much harder. What are you doing here? We're on the same side.
Yeah, but Karen Bass, of course, the mayor there, not on a gun excursion at the moment. She said, look, everything was fine until ICE conducted raids. And so if ICE just wouldn't enforce what she's essentially saying, if ICE wouldn't enforce federal immigration law, then we wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, and even that gets the timeline wrong, right? I mean, we had this interview with Bill Esley, USAT in California, who described the scene, said in particular this one area outside this Home Depot that became a flashpoint was a staging area for raids elsewhere on employers who are violating immigration law, not necessarily individuals who are illegal immigrants, some of whom have been here for 15, 20 years. Nevertheless, these were staging areas for raids elsewhere, and they were summoned, this mob was summoned to these staging areas as part of a sophisticated operation. Quote, we're seeing a very sophisticated level of organization by union groups and other groups to mobilize people to violently resist our efforts to enforce immigration law here. This is not an organic phenomenon. The sort of thing that is summoned into existence, as you said earlier, by professional agitators, and a willing cast of anarchistic individuals who take any opportunity to smash the foundations of the social compact. This is what gets them out of bed in the morning. That's why. I'm sorry, continue.
No, but then that is papered over. I mean, even when sort of there's some middling rhetoric that acknowledges these professional agitators and anarchists, there's sort of there's still the fallback position of, look, it's mostly peaceful protesters that are advocating on behalf of mostly illegal immigrants.
Well, when you put it that way, it's crystal clear. Yeah, but that's why the rhetoric on the part of Democrats is so illustrative of how they think about this and why they're in the trouble that they are. They can't bear to jettison this millstone around their neck. They can't let themselves say in no uncertain terms, these are not our people. You are not on our side. We do not share the same objectives. They and have seen, the Democratic Party broadly for the last 25 years has seen expressions of political violence as a form of misplaced zeal that could be very politically beneficial if it could be harnessed and wielded on their terms. It's how Kamala Harris's campaign approached the anti-Israel, pro-Hamas rioters throughout 2023 and 2024. You saw it in Occupy Wall Street. You saw it after the 1999 WTO riots. You see this pattern repeat itself continually, and they're repeatedly burned, Democrats are, by the extent to which they embrace what looks like a movement of uncompromising zeal in service to progressive causes and ends up being riotous, composed of malcontents, a lot of people who don't have political objectives in mind. They're anti-political. They don't appreciate the political process. They want to disrupt it, break it, demonstrate the degree to which the American Civic Compact is fragile because it is morally indefensible. That's what these people believe. They make for very bad political allies.
So do you think we're going to have another Summer of Love Volume 2 like we did in 2020, which cost $1 billion to repair all the destruction?
You know, I'm kind of on the fence about it. Part of me doesn't think that we can see, I don't think we're going to see anything of the scale that we saw in 2020 because I think the lockdowns were a real powerful accelerant to those riots. What we saw in 2020 was the culmination of 3 months in which every institution and every person in your life with the expertise in their background said, you can't go outside. It's literally criminal. And you will be, at the very least, an irresponsible person. And then to pivot to say, okay, here's your permission structure to go outside and socialize again. And you can do that without police interference. A lot of people had a lot of pent-up emotions, and I think that contributed to the express. On top of moral panic around racism in this country, I think that gave a lot of permission to the people who engaged in violence that summer. So I don't think we'll see anything of that scale. But elite liberals are talking themselves into it. There's a piece by Michelle Goldberg in the New York Times editorial page this morning. This is what autocracy looks like, is the title. And it describes what we're seeing in the streets of Los Angeles. The bad guy in this story is the Trump administration. Of course. Not the people who are setting fire to ride shares, of course, or assaulting police or raining missiles down on law enforcement from overpasses. No. It's the people responding to all that that are the problem. I don't think these rioters are spending a lot of time reading the New York Times opinion page. I don't think they're reading the Atlantic. But you see these arguments there too, and this is an elite liberal phenomenon. They're not going to be the ones executing this violence. But the organizers who do read the New York Times opinion page, who do read the Atlantic, who are as plugged in Washington as any mover and shaker that you can think of, and who are assisting and funding these events, these violent events, they do take their cues.
Well, the other thing that's happening, too, is they're I mean, as usual, they're projecting when they say that President Trump is spoiling for civil strife. In point of fact, they are. And what this is about is hoping for a police overreach somewhere where they can generate a cause célèbre that flips the script. Because Trump is his response yesterday, I think, is right. And people remember those indelible images out of Minneapolis and Kenosha, Middle America. And look, I don't want that to happen again. I'm not going to watch major urban centers or any community burn at the hands of professional agitators, is basically what he said. And people do remember that. And that's the proper, and it's also the politically popular posture, unless somehow these, professional agitators can goad a police officer into doing something that is over the line.
Yeah, but it's just, you're right. That is what they want. But it's such a different political landscape than it was in the summer of 2020. As we just discussed, my colleague at Dan McLaughlin over at National Review has a pretty good piece. This is a pretty dumb strategic move, giving Donald Trump the opportunity to do the summer of 2020 over, because he didn't really get the opportunity to respond to it as he probably would have liked to have. He was in the middle of a re-election campaign. There was a pandemic, et cetera, so forth. And there was, as we said earlier, a moral panic around law enforcement and excessive policing. And that's all gone. It's just the political landscape is now much less amenable to being lax towards criminality, even broken windows, the sort of stuff that begets more law enforcement, more law-breaking down the road, the little crimes that if you ignore, they fester and create a culture of criminality. The public is pretty much more with that than against it, certainly more than they were in 2020. So Donald Trump has room to run. He has room to run on immigration. That's his strongest issue in the polls. He has room to run on crime and criminal justice, even though local law enforcement is not within the purview of the president. But he's going to do what he can to put down whatever he can define within the terms of statute, insurrectionary activity. And within the grounds of statute, insofar as he can define it that way, he has all the room to do what he needs to do to restore order. And I don't think the public is going to look on that and say, oh, wow, this is overreach. This is authoritarianism. This is a king in waiting. I don't think they're going to think that. I think they're going to let him do what he and Republicans believe need to be done to restore order to our cities, because I think most voters really don't appreciate this order in our cities. It's the sort of thing that Democrats should have learned over the course of the last 5 years. It was a lesson that was pretty painful, and yet they do not seem to have internalized any of those lessons.
Noah Rothman, senior writer at National Review, author of The Rise of the New Puritans, Fighting Back Against Progressives' War on Fun. Noah, thanks as always.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Wow. At the time of this being written, both gold and silver are up some 40%. That's 40% in just 1 year. In fact, this past year, gold has broken all-time historic records by hundreds of dollars an ounce. And unlike all other financial instruments used today, that historic record goes back thousands of years. In times like these, prices have never been better on most collector and gold coins. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is trying to keep up with demand. So they're paying the most ever on not only most gold coins and bars, but also those old coin and paper money collections. They're especially looking for the scarcer dates and higher grade coins. Take advantage of the record high market price and our huge demand now, whether you're buying or selling, or just want to find out their worth. Fox Valley Coins is the place to go. Fox Valley Coins is on Route 59, just 1 light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Dreyfus, founder and president of Metropolis Coffee Company and a proud new customer of Signature Bank. We're a 19-year-old specialty coffee roaster located in the heart of Chicago. Some of your favorite restaurants and cafes serve our coffee. As a small business manufacturer, we understand the importance of working with the right bank, and that's why we made the move to Signature Bank. We were tired of the impersonal service that our large bank had provided. A friend referred us to Signature Bank, and their team was on site to understand our operations firsthand. They provided us the working capital to continue our successful business operations and to fuel our ambitions for innovation and growth. We now have the flexibility to grow at our own pace. That personal touch, you can't find that at a large bank, but we found it at Signature, and we can't thank them enough.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, AM 560 listeners, Jeff checking in again from JeffBuysYourHouse.com. What I learned serving our great nation in the military is that every mission is unique and success starts with listening. For nearly 20 years, our veteran-led house buying team has taken the time to understand what matters most to each homeowner we serve. Every home has a story, and every seller has different needs. Whether you want a quick closing or need extra time to find your next place, we customize our approach around what works best for you. That's how we've earned hundreds of 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating with the BBB, by putting relationships first. No repairs needed, no cleanout required, and you pick the closing date that works best for your schedule. At JeffBuysYourHouse.com, we're here to help you through the entire transition, not just the transaction. Are you ready to work with a local team that takes the time to understand your home selling needs? Sell your house to the trusted source by calling us today at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or JeffBuysYourHouse.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy updating our top story on Ozempic penis.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah.
My friend from
boy.
Pharma.
You mean Big Pharma?
Yes, exactly.
Ayo.
Getting bigger. The penis getting bigger is real. I spoke to a urologist friend, but
thank you.
not exactly.
Oh, hold your horses, ladies. Calm down.
Yeah.
Before you order that Ozempic for your man.
Right above where the penis emerges, that there's a spot called a fat pad.
Okay. Oh.
Which, interestingly, was the name of my Fat Boys cover band in high school. We used to kill with Wipeout.
The fat pad?
Yeah. As you lose weight, that's one of the first areas to really start to shrink. So you're not growing the penis. It's just allowing more of it to be revealed because of the reduction in the fat pad. You understand?
I understand.
All right. So I hope all of those are on the men on weight loss medications, and also who are telling yarns to women about how,
Ozempic.
Yeah. All right.
So slim down the fat pad, gentlemen.
And
you know what I mean.
more of your manhood is revealed. It's the big reveal. Speaking of rap, since I mentioned the Fat Boys, our friend Brett Baer.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this is his go-to karaoke song, the Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight.
Yeah, we've heard it many times. I remember we had him sing it on the show once.
He did a little riff, but this is an extended riff. He performed on stage, someplace in Florida, had to be.
Yeah, I mean.
This was just over the weekend, and then he did a little bit of...
He changed the lyrics.
Yeah, he did a little bit of free versing, too, to show his range. Take a listen.
Hip, hop, you don't stop, rock it to the bang, bang, boogie, so up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Scooby-Doo, that's right, America, we love you, and we rock and roll to the summer sun. We can rock to 101 years old. I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast, but I like hot butter on my breakfast toast. Rock it out, baby bubba to the boogie to bang, bang, the boogie to the beat. Heat so unique, come on everybody, dance your feet. Walk on late, dark afternoon, reporter stopped me for an interview. She said she's heard stories and she's heard papers. Vicious on the mic and the turntables. This young reporter I did adore. So I rocked the vicious line like I never did before. She said, damn, I got love with you. Casting over ledge, it must have been true. I said, by the way, baby, what's your name? Should I go by the name Lois Lane? And you can be my boyfriend, you certainly can. Let me quit my boy called Superman. He is I do suppose, flying through the air in pantyhose. He may be very sexy or even cute, but he looks like a sucker in a blue and red shirt. I said to him, Hip, hop, you don't stop. Rock to the bang, bang, boogie. Up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Skiddle it up, Scooby-Doo. That's right, America, we love you. Fox News Channel, you should watch. 6 p.m. special report. It's really good, very fair, very balanced, very fair. Hey, all the way live. Thank you very much.
Ah, not bad for a honky.
That was my dad.
Good.
I think that was really cool.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
And he's wearing a crisp white shirt and khaki pants. Good for him.
Coming up at 7:37, we'll turn attention to all things Illinois policy related. See if Ted Dabrowski's got a rap for us. Ted Dabrowski, President, Wired Points, wiredpoints.org, 7:37.
But first, let's stop by that newsroom once again. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 59 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is criticizing President Trump's deployment of federal troops to Los Angeles amid ongoing immigration protests.
Speaking from the Capitol, Jeffries emphasized the constitutional right of Americans to peacefully assemble and petition the government.
These people have zero credibility on the other side of the aisle when it comes to issues of law and order.
He condemned the Trump administration and, in his words, extreme MAGA Republicans for intentionally inflaming the situation. He reiterated that while peaceful protest is protected, any unlawful behavior should be addressed by appropriate authorities. I'm Mark Mayfield.
ICE arrests are rising under the Trump administration.
A White House spokesperson says 100,000 arrests have happened this year, which marks a big jump from last year. According to government statistics, in fiscal year 2024, ICE arrested 113,000 people, while the Trump administration is approaching that number in only 6 months. I'm Brian Shook.
News is a service of Low T Center. Guys, are you or your spouse looking to lose weight in time for summer? Head over to any Synergex or Low T Center for prescription weight loss treatment options, including semaglutide. If you qualify for treatment, you can get a free B12 shot when you start. Offer limited. Book now at fixmylowt.com. I check the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Charlie Kirk sees a small part of the country going left.
Democrats are only making gains with one group of people: highly educated, rich people, those with luxury beliefs and abstractions. You can see the income graph. It is chilling. Democrats keep on gaining with the group. The wealthier you are, the more likely you are to be in the Democrat Party.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Reveille. When Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill passes, poor school children trapped in Illinois' failing schools will again get a chance at a better education. Inside that big, beautiful bill is a tax credit scholarship provision that will provide $5 billion or $10 billion if the Senate Republicans get their way in scholarship money. The program would be very similar to the tax credit scholarship program Illinois used to have, but that Democrats and Governor Pritzker shut down in 2024. Except Trump's version is, of course, bigger and better. The state program allowed a 75% credit for every dollar a taxpayer designated to the scholarship program, and in total, the program was capped at $75 million. Even at that amount, for the last year that Illinois' Invest in Kids program was in effect, over 15,000 students took advantage of the scholarship and found a better school. The federal program is a game changer. It would give a full tax credit, dollar for dollar, up to the greater of $5,000 or 10% of one's income. If capped at $5 billion and distributed evenly among states, Illinois would receive $100 million for scholarships. At a $10 billion cap, Illinois' share would be $200 million, and possibly 40,000 children would be saved from government indoctrination centers. New Hampshire just became the 16th state to enact universal school choice, meaning the program is open to all students. 15 additional states have some other version of school choice. Infamously, though, Illinois Democrats are the only ones in the country to kill an active school choice program. So more than anything else, Trump's program shows Pritzker for the petty, insecure, and cowardly person he is, for his failure to stand up to unions and ensure parents have a choice in the education of their children. I'm Jeannie Ives. Join me Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. on this station and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
From the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 17 minutes. Outbound, 15 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 38 minutes. Outbound, 53 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 43 minutes. Outbound, 28 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 44 minutes. Accident cleanup on the right shoulder, a little bit slow. On the outbound side, about 30 minutes. This report is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Straight Talk might not be on your shopping list, but it should be. Next time you're grabbing some milk off the shelf at your local Walmart, stop by the Straight Talk aisle and switch to real unlimited data. It's quick and convenient. It won't even take up room in your cart. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Hazy sun, breezy morning. That haze coming from distant wildfire smoke. High today 80. Clear tonight, low 63. Hazy sun, breezy warm day tomorrow. The high up to 90. Scattered thunderstorms on Thursday. The high at 77. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when you're moving out. I said, when you're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. That theme music means it's time for our weekly conversation with Ted Dabrowski, president of WirePoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. I'm just sticking on the LA riots for a moment because our very own junior Senator Tammy Duckworth has weighed in. Let's be clear, this isn't about law and order. It's about creating chaos. Our National Guard should be used when absolutely necessary, when local law enforcement needs it, not forced on our communities to intimidate citizens and inflame tensions Trump created in the first place. Trump is using military force to crush civilian dissent. It's un-American. Okay. I mean, you want to go with the Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass line of argumentation, then you roll with it and you see if you can sell it. Maybe in Chicagoland you can sell it better than they can sell it in L.A. and California. But I'll tell you what, the rest of the nation, most of the rest of the nation is not going to buy that explanation for what they see happening. I'm telling you right now.
And the irony is, Karen Bass and all you Democratic, whatever you want to call them, thugs should know is that Monday things were a little bit calmer after the National Guard was called in and 500 to 700 Marines came into the city. Well, it was. I mean, if you look at the numbers. Or maybe they're just resting up for No King's Day, which is this Saturday. Who knows?
Yeah, as we discussed with Noah Rothman, you're just not going to win this argument trying to flip the script on a majority of Americans who are pretty commonsensical about public safety.
Yeah, and you cannot defend violence against law enforcement or first responders.
Ted, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, guys.
So it should be interesting, given what's transpired over the last several days in L.A. And by the way, Pritzker weighed in the same way. Pritzker said the same thing. Where do I've got Pritzker. He was quoted in Politico yesterday denouncing Trump's ICE action, saying the same thing: abuse of power, the federal government activating them in their own state borders without consulting or working with the state's government is ineffective and dangerous. Not when the state's governor won't do what is required to bring peace to the streets. But anyway, that's the line of argumentation you're getting as Pritzker prepares to present his wares before the House Oversight Committee this week.
Yeah, it's a big week with Pritzker going down there to defend his sanctuary state and, of course, Chicago's sanctuary city policies. And, what's interesting about this whole L.A. thing is that it could have been Chicago. Who knows what would have happened had we had that kind of event here. And I think what really matters in all this is that places like Los Angeles and of course, Chicago and Brandon Johnson, they've proven that they will not protect the people first. They allowed, and this is, of course, under Lori Lightfoot, but, allowed the rioters to take control of the city, burn downtown, hurt people, and they would not protect the people. And, because we didn't have to turn to that time, then, of course, we had record growth in murders for a couple of years, right? We saw us go over 800 murders in Chicago. And so, Trump is doing, I think, what he should be doing, and that's deterrence. We lost our ability to deter crime, and that's why he kept rising. And so he's going to show them in L.A. and I'm sure elsewhere that you have to deter this kind of behavior. Otherwise, we perpetuate it. We incentivize it, and that's been a big problem. And yes, crime is going down right now, but I think the biggest problem is we stop deterring crime.
Well, and that folds into our other problem. It's the sort of the cost of living, the economic opportunity, the tax burdens, and public safety. Those are sort of the top factors in what are driving Illinoisans out of Illinois. And by the way, that's still happening, and it's particularly pronounced among those who are good earners. You recently did a piece over at WirePoints looking at domestic migration of Illinois tax filers with annual incomes of more than $200,000.
Yeah, we are the worst at keeping our rich. I mean, any way you cut these numbers, we have huge troubles. And if you want to be as progressive, as left as you want, and you want to spend a lot of money, you want to spend a lot of government money, you need rich people. You need wealth. And we've seen the numbers over the past couple of decades. We keep losing our wealthy, and it's everywhere in every single number we see. Excuse me, but we have the worst ratio of the number of people making more than $200,000 moving into Illinois than moving out. And when we lose those people, they take billions in income with them that we can't tax. And it's just over the last decade, if we just kept our millionaires, or I should say those people over 200,000, if we'd stayed flat with those filers and not lost them, we'd have 1.5 billion more in tax revenues this year, just in income tax revenues. Solve a lot of problems, but when we keep chasing these people out, and again, part of that crime is part of it, is when we keep chasing them out, we dig a deeper and deeper and deeper hole for Illinois.
For 2022, 16,300, 200K plus out, 7,000 in. That's not a good spread.
Yeah, that's 9,000 people making more than $200,000 a year gone, and the net loss of that was $7 billion in taxable income. We could have taxed that income, and that could have been used for all kinds of stuff, or it could have been used for tax reductions, right? But it's gone, and we do that every single year, so it's a problem.
The other, it was an interesting look at the income tax filers who are millionaires, a 50-state comparison, and the worst in terms of growth of income earners. Of millionaires, worse in terms of growth, millionaires. Imagine this. The bottom 5, Connecticut, New York, Illinois. The top 5 in terms of growth, Idaho, Montana, Texas, Arizona, Florida. Gee, what a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, when you take a cold, sober look at this stuff, again, who's getting the millionaires, who's getting the wealth. It's always a battle, over entrepreneurs, wealthy, the investors, right? States are fighting for them. And we get our butts super kicked, and the sober look says we've got a real problem, and we better watch out. And of course, that's not sexy stuff talking about tax filers and all that, but it's a big problem. And then you see, we pointed out, how Utah and Montana, Idaho, it shows you how this is part of the mobility of millionaires now, or billionaires even. They can work, they can move and live wherever the heck they want. And if you don't respect them, and Brandon Johnson doesn't respect them, neither does Pritzker. Even Pritzker being one, they can just pick up and leave. Things are so damn mobile now that if you don't respect the wealth, it will leave you in a heartbeat. And that's what we've seen in, of course, Florida and Texas and Arizona. They've done really well to get more millionaires.
And yet Brandon Johnson, for example, wants the rich to pick up a number of tabs, including his $1.1 billion plan to build 10,000 units of affordable REIT subsidized housing, REIT ghetto. That's $1.1 million a unit. 1.1 billion,
housing.
1.1 billion, 10,000 units, $1.1 million per unit, and then you pay for it, and then you subsidize people to live in those units that we spent $1.1 million to construct.
Yeah, we need a whole paradigm shift, Dan and Amy. What they're doing is so destructive, and they continue to get away with it. But man, when you watch it leave, and then the beauty for the other states, and this is the positive news, is that if you do good things, you can attract lots of people. I mean, you take a South Carolina, yes, it's a retirement place as well, but they're just booming with people and with wealth. Just
in Greenville, South Carolina, I could not believe all the growth. Everyone's moving down there.
Yeah, friendly tax regime, friendly business, friendly
people. People say hi to each other.
Yeah, make it easy. Make it easier for people to open businesses. That's what it takes, and it's a mind shift, and we don't have it right now. The mind shift is exactly the opposite, and we're stuck in this Pritzker Johnson type. Anti-business, anti-wealthy, anti-growth environment.
Well, speaking of Pritzker, he's getting ready to. He's not having any public appearances before his big debut on Capitol Hill on Thursday. And I know that I'm going to be watching. I'm sure you're going to be too. Do you expect? I mean, how is he going to defend, especially what's going on right now in L.A.? Because what's happening when ICE agents do their jobs?
Yeah, it's interesting because, when Johnson went, whatever that was a couple months ago, Johnson went on pure defense. He hardly said anything, and as I mentioned, he looked like a deer in headlights. Mm-hmm. He had to be cautious. Now Pritzker, wants to run for president, so this is a big moment for him. He'll try to leverage it, and if he's going to continue his same old, what I'd call extreme messaging, then he's going to lean into it. But
yeah, but he's sitting next to Walz, who also wants to be president. So they're going to try to out-progress each other?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised. And what's going to be pretty easy, though, is the questions are, if these questions can come out, are, again, Illinois has spent over, probably by now, close to $2 billion on health care for illegal immigrants. Chicago's got the highest black poverty rate, the highest black unemployment rate. How the heck do you justify that, Governor Pritzker? Right, and you can go one by one on this stuff on the schools. The kids can't read in Chicago, and yet he's letting in thousands of kids and spending $25,000 a kid on operating costs for illegal immigrants when our own kids can't function. So we can just go down the list on crime, on all of it.
A bit of good news, and this was the commentary you just heard from Jeannie Ives before this segment. The Educational Choice for Children Act, this provision in the BBB to institute a national school choice program, national opportunity scholarship program, even for people in godless states like Illinois that are opposed to poor, disproportionately minority children having the same opportunities as rich white kids, which is the position of the political power structure here. That's the position of it. That's how it should be characterized. Families making up to 300% of area median income would be able to apply for and receive scholarships to use toward private school tuition, homeschooling, books, or tutoring. The money would be given out by third-party scholarship granting organizations certified by IRS. And it would be one-to-one dollar deduction for donors. So if you donated $1,000 to a scholarship granting organization in Illinois, you get $1,000 taken off your tax bill. Full tax credit, dollar for dollar, up to the greater of $5,000 or 10% of one's income. So this would be a boon here in backward states that don't provide opportunity scholarships or choice to kids, like Illinois does not anymore. You would have some of those kids that were enjoying the benefits of tax credit scholarships until Pritzker and company repealed them. They would be back able to access resources that provide choice, just like rich honkies in the suburbs.
Yeah, no, this would be huge. You're talking about $5 billion. If Illinois can get, and maybe with Chicago being at the center of all this, if we get $500 million, 10% of that, which might be a little high, but you're talking about lots and lots of maybe 100,000, 50,000 scholarships, which will be much bigger than what we had under the Invest in Kids Act. So it'd be transformational, I think, and eye-opening for many families to have that ability. Now, the slight negative would be is that it might give the Democrats here in control to say, well, we're not going to do anything locally. Well, you got your federal stuff, so leave us alone locally. When what I'd like to see is a universal school choice, what's being pushed across the country. We just wrote about this, I think it was yesterday. New Hampshire just came on. It's become the
Right.
16th state to do universal school choice. So the movement's big, but if as we said, if the blue states won't do school choice, then the federal government will, and let's see what happens in this big, beautiful bill.
Well, yeah, but if you get this going and you get families enjoying the scholarship opportunities, and maybe we do a little bit better job of advocacy than we did when we had the school choice program, then you can remind people this is brought to you by Republicans, the Trump administration, and if you want to see this expanded at the local level, then you need to put some of those Republicans into state and local offices. It seems like a pretty good argument.
Yeah, I think if enough people have it, then if I don't have one, I would say, hey, why does that family get one? I don't. Give me one, right? And I think if we do a good job of marketing and educating, it would be great. So I think we've just got to make it toxic for our Illinois legislators who oppose school choice. We got to make it toxic that they oppose school choice because we've talked about how bad the numbers are here. Kids deserve educational freedom.
Ted Dabrowski, President of WirePoints, wirepoints.org, all things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile. Take the journey of living a happy, successful, and meaningful life through God. Listen to It's Time with Dan Lights, Sunday mornings at 9 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
He's coming. Here he goes. Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You're great at protecting your personal information. You might even use things like two-factor authentication and strong passwords. But as much as you try to control how your info's protected, there are other places that also have it, and they may not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name Clay as the promo code at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Listen up. If you're in pain, there is an option. Besides surgery or being addicted to pain pills or going to physical therapy that is not getting you any results, we're talking about QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is different. These aren't quick fixes, folks. It is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You'll meet with medical doctor, the director, Ashley Caravelli, and her team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your body's own healing power and helps restore damaged tissue. They've helped tens of thousands of people. No masking the pain. They're going after it, and the very source of it. So say goodbye to chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a candidate. The consultation is free. Why do I have a problem with consultation? The consultation is free with appointments during the week and on Saturdays. Call my good friends at QC Kinetics to schedule that free consultation. The number, 312-809-5955. Again, that's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Are you planning to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or whole home? Explore why homeowners call Forever Remodeling the remodeling machine. With over 2,000 completed projects, our expert designers, project managers, and installers work together like clockwork, delivering stunning results on time and on budget. From creative design to detailed installation, we build beautiful, functional spaces without the stress. Call Forever Remodeling today at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com to schedule your free in-home design consultation.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day and I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, I've got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain at a certain point in life, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Looking for some hope? Listen to Leading the Way with Dr. Michael Youssef on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. Weekday mornings starting at 8. AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, did you see that Ferris Bueller's sweater is going on the auction block?
You would look fetching in that.
No, not my style. Pre-sale estimates put the value of the Ferris Bueller sweater. Sotheby's is auctioning it.
100,000.
Higher.
200,000.
Higher.
$500,000.
Between 300,000 and 600,000.
Who's gonna buy that? I mean,
really?
You get the car with it, the red car that they damaged.
People are collector. The red car. Yes. Yes. Well said. Yeah, real gearhead, obviously. $300,000 to $600,000 for the Ferris Bueller sweater.
I'll pass.
Well, if you've got somebody who's a big John Hughes fan, they've got maybe I don't know. Let's see, maybe Emilio Estevez's Siglet from Breakfast Club.
From Breakfast Club. What else? What was his name? The burnout guy in
the
Breakfast
shower
Club.
Rings from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah.
John Candy shower
the pink
rings.
Sweater from Pretty in Pink. 16 candles. The candles from the cake. I mean, there's a lot of things. A lot of collector items.
Yeah. Yeah. John Hughes.
John Hughes loved him.
John Hughes collectibles, if you will.
I don't mean something burning in here. Do you smell it?
We'll look into whether or not we're on fire right now. But at 8:08, we'll talk to Gianno Caldwell. He's got a new book about the day his brother was murdered. Gianno Caldwell at 8:08.
Today we're going to have hazy sunshine, a high of 80 degrees. Then tomorrow, hot and humid, finally a high near 90. It is now 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It's now 4 nights in a row in Los Angeles. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Those are fireworks being shot at law enforcement during the protests against illegal immigration raids.
And they've committed a whole rash of crimes, whether it's lighting Waymos on fire, shooting commercial-grade fireworks at police officers, not hurling insults at them, hurling actually cinder blocks and bricks at the police.
And L.A. County DA Nathan Hochman just told Fox those arrested will be prosecuted. But Fox's Jonathan Hunt reports from L.A.
Frankly, it is a lot less tense on the streets of downtown L.A. this morning than it was just 24 hours ago. That is not to say that there were not intense clashes once again last night throughout downtown LA. Thousands of protesters were once again roaming the streets.
President Trump's deployed hundreds of Marines to protect federal buildings and another 2,000 National Guard troops. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is challenging that in court as illegal. LA Mayor Karen Bass says,
I feel like we are part of an experiment that we did not ask to be a part of.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says they have an obligation to defend federal law enforcement. Later this hour, Hegseth will testify at a House hearing.
It is expected to zero in on homeland defense, including the president's Golden Dome missile shield, the southern border, countering China in the Pacific, and boosting troop pay. Democrats are also likely to press Defense Secretary Hegseth on Signalgate and the deployment of troops to L.A.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Later today, Hegseth will join President Trump at Fort Bragg in North Carolina to kick off celebrating the Army's 250th anniversary. A school shooting this morning in Austria has left 8 students and an adult dead
after a rampage at a high school in the city of Graz. Several others have been hospitalized. The attacker's connection to the school has not been confirmed, but one Austrian newspaper reports the suspect was a 22-year-old former student who carried a pistol and a shotgun.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. That gunman killed himself. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 62 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Immigrant advocates in Chicago are calling President Trump's administrative actions fear tactics. A rally was held yesterday morning in Dealey Plaza to show support for immigrant communities after the president's latest immigration crackdown and travel ban. Just last week, some city leaders clashed with federal agents as several people were taken into custody at immigration facilities in the South Loop. Not everyone agrees with this stance. One of Mayor Johnson's top aides is leaving. City Chief Operating Officer John Roberson will join the Obama Foundation. His name is surfaced as a possible candidate to run the CTA. Roberson is the last official from Mayor Johnson's inner circle from the previous City Hall experience. The State Department of Health Care and Family Services is warning the public about a data breach. The agency learned on February 11th that someone was conducting a phishing scam targeting HFS employees and attempting to gain access to their usernames and passwords. The total number of people impacted was 933, including 564 Illinois residents. The department has notified those affected. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. I check on the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but now time for the Signature Bank Business Beat.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
There's a truck deal. Daimler Truck is merging its Japan-based Mitsubishi Fuso business with Toyota's Hino Motors. The combined business will be listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. Walt Disney shares are higher after resolving its dispute over the value of Hulu. Disney will pay Comcast NBC Universal more than $438 million to buy out its partner. The deal is less than what NBC Universal was seeking, but more than Disney argued it was worth. Biotech Regeneron Pharmaceuticals is proceeding with its plan to buy DNA testing company 23andMe out of bankruptcy, but now 27 states and the District of Columbia are suing, seeking to block the sale of personal data without consent. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
Larry Elder isn't happy with where some of his tax dollars end up.
Half of the taxpayers in America are conservative, but 100% of taxpayer dollars that go to Harvard go from conservatives and liberals. And if Harvard hires professors, obviously because of their viewpoint, and I am supporting Harvard through my taxpayer dollars, whether it's for research or for student loans, I have a problem with that.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
A
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Living with everyday pain is like having a voice that always says, no, you can't do that. No, you better sit this one out. It's no way to live. So if pain is affecting you, see how Relief Factor can help get you back to life on your terms. One where you say yes a lot more. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor's unique formula of natural ingredients does not just mask pain, it helps reduce or eliminate it for good. Whether it's your back, neck, joints, or muscles, Relief Factor can help you, as it has for so many others. So call 1-800-4RELIEF and give Relief Factor's 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day to get your life back. Just go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. And see how you can say yes to more of everything you want.
From the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 15 minutes. Outbound is about 20 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 41 minutes. Outbound, 51 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 48 minutes. Outbound, 28 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 55 minutes. Outbound is about 27 minutes. On the Dan Ryan inbound from 95th to the Burn Interchange, 24 minutes. Outbound, 11 minutes. Traffic is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
A bit of hazy sun for today, breezy. That haze coming from distant wildfire smoke, high 80. Clear tonight, low 63. Hazy sun, breezy, warm day tomorrow, the high up to 90. For Thursday, clouds and sun, scattered thunderstorms, the high 77. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Of course, we covered this tragedy, so many that we've had to cover in Chicago. 3 years ago now, June of 2022, when our friend and Fox News political analyst Gianno Caldwell's younger brother, Christian, was murdered in Chicago. 18 years old at the time, one of two people killed in an attack on the South Side. He was innocent bystander.
Not a gangbanger.
And there still is no justice in this case because there is no one in custody for Gianno Caldwell's brother Christian's murder. Gianno has written a book about it, We remember talking to him at the time or shortly thereafter where he was going to press on to, advocate for policies that improve public safety in urban centers like Chicago. And he has now launched the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety, in addition to writing the book, The Day My Brother Was Murdered, My Journey Through America's Violent Crime Crisis, which is out June 24th. Of course, you can pre-order it now. Gianno Caldwell, Fox News political analyst and author of The Day My Brother Was Murdered, My Journey Through America's Violent Crime Crisis. Gianno, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been too long since we last spoke.
Yeah. So, go through what the last 3 years have been like, not just in terms of putting together your thoughts for this book, but in terms of, more importantly, working with law enforcement to both try to find the person responsible for your brother's death, as well as working more generally on improving public safety in places like Chicago.
Well, thank you, Dan. And I'll tell you, June 24th, 2022, my life changed forever when my innocent teenage baby brother was murdered right on 114 South Vincent Street. I've worked with the FBI, the members of Congress to get the FBI involved, although they don't investigate murders, but they have resources that they can utilize with the Chicago police. Started the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety last year. We're coming up on our 1 year mark, on the 3 year mark of my brother's murder. And there we advocate against George Soros-funded prosecutors, brought on people like Pam Bondi, our Attorney General of the United States, Dr. Drew Pinsky, Congressman Burgess Owens, who all joined our advisory board when we got Luncheon started, got involved in the LA District Attorney's race and supported Nathan Hochman, who won, did radio ads for him. We've done quite a bit, honestly, since my brother was murdered. And in this book, I talk about, and it's called The Day My Brother Was Murdered, My Journey Through America's Violent Crime Crisis. I don't just focus on my brother in this book. He's actually the last chapter. I focus on 9 families in total, including my own, who all had family members murdered on that day across the country. Wow. I talk about people like James, who was a veteran in Philadelphia, who was beat to death by teenagers, some even younger than teenagers, with a traffic cone. I talk about people like Catherine, who's out of Texas, who was a mother, grandmother, 65 years old, who was leaving her chemical engineering job on June 24th when there was a shootout on a freeway in Texas after a drug deal went bad. This was an older white lady. I cover every race in this book: black, white, Hispanic, young, and old. And for that reason, and it was very intentional for me to do that, is because I want people to see this for what this is. This isn't a black issue. It's not a Hispanic issue. It's an American issue that can impact any and every one of us. We have to turn around our country. And as we see cars burning in Los Angeles, same thing can happen in Chicago. Same thing can happen in any other liberal city where they don't allow law and order to flourish, where they allow criminals to run wild, where we see these elected officials, including Brandon Johnson, who seemingly fights harder for the criminals than his own citizens in the city of Chicago. What we see is utterly disgusting. And it is people with a particular ideology, progressive, liberal, whatever, who uses a doodle brain intellect, if you will, to say that, no, it's okay to come into our country illegally. No, it's not. It's okay to burn police cars. No, it's not. It's okay to assault police officers and everyday human. No, it's not. It absolutely is not. And these things must...
Oh. Did we lose Gianno? Gianno? Hello? Okay. Let's see if we can reconnect with Gianno Caldwell. We'll be right back after this.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. 1 month ago, House Democrats started a melee at an Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility in Newark. That signaled radicals across the country to escalate, and Los Angeles agitators clearly got the message when ICE began enforcing the law in California. Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass refused to intervene to protect federal law enforcement officers when they came under attack. Bass declared, "We will not stand for this," when those enforcement operations began. After 2 days of violence directed at ICE officials, Donald Trump ordered the National Guard to L.A. as protection for federal officers. Newsom then rallied Democrat governors to oppose the move and to stop ICE enforcement activities. That's nothing less than a full party endorsement of riots and obstruction of law enforcement. Trump got elected in large part to enforce these laws across the country. The Democrat Party wants radicals to run riot in the streets to prevent the will of the voters from being fulfilled. Let this serve as a warning in every election about the nature of Democrat leadership. I'm Ed Morrissey.
Are you planning to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or whole home? Explore why homeowners call Forever Remodeling the remodeling machine. With over 2,000 completed projects, our expert designers, project managers, and installers work together like clockwork, delivering stunning results on time and on budget. From creative design to detailed installation, we build beautiful, functional spaces without the stress. Call Forever Remodeling today at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your free in-home design consultation.
Hear sound teaching from God's Word from Dr. David Jeremiah on Turning Point. Each weekday morning at 9:30 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life. AM 560. The Answer.
Okay, Gianno Caldwell, we're speaking with him, Fox News analyst. Got cut off there. He's back. Fox News political analyst, the book, The Day My Brother Was Murdered, My Journey Through America's Violent Crime Crisis. Gianno, sorry about the disconnect there. So you were talking about the basis of your book and these stories that you're telling about endemic violent crime in America, but really concentrated in America's urban centers.
Yes. The story I mentioned about Catherine, that wasn't actually an urban center. That was very much a rural area. But I'll tell you, these events are happening all over the country. And yes, liberals who run these urban centers, people like Karen Bass, who allow lawlessness in Los Angeles, Mayor Brandon Johnson, who does the same. And certainly when you look at places like New York, where you have people like Alvin Bragg, who allows criminals, whether they be migrants or just everyday citizens, to attack and release them back onto the streets to do it again and again and again, are people who should not be in office. They should not hold these positions of power because they are endangering the lives of every one of their citizens.
Now, you mentioned that you interviewed 9 different families who across the country who their loved ones were murdered that day. Have any of those murders been solved? And if so, were any of them repeat offenders?
Well, yes. So Catherine is an example. Her murder has been solved. The police moved with great haste. They located the people who did it. It was a drug deal that went wrong. Mm-hmm. Apparently, the person who was looking to buy the drugs was looking to rip off the guy who was selling the drugs, and vice versa. So that has been solved. It's about 6 of the cases in the book have been solved, but many of them are still looking for answers, including my family. And yes, there has been some repeat offenders that we cover in this book. We also cover Chicago stories like baby Cecilia, a 6-month-old who was murdered on the same day as my brother. I know a lot of us remember that story. She was in the car with her parents when bullets flew through the window and shot the baby, with her baby brother noticing there being blood. They thought it was fireworks initially. There's so many of these stories. There was 150 murders on that very day across the nation. And it was hard to pick any of them because all of them are so meaningful. You know, someone loses their life. It's a great loss to us all. That's potential. That's talent that we no longer have access to. Families who no longer have access to those particular individuals. So no matter the set of circumstances, it's a terrible tragedy to lose anyone. But I wanted to specifically give light to stories that maybe people around the country haven't heard of, along with provide solutions to what we've been seeing by interviewing people like Sean Hannity, John Walsh from America's Most Wanted, Dr. Drew Pinsky, talking about cities like Miami, which is the largest safe big city in America right now. Homicide rate is low as the 1950s. There's a lot of things out there that we can do as a community, but we also need lawmakers. We need politicians who are dedicated and committed to what should be the first and most paramount level of, I believe,
what they should be doing is the safety and security of their people.
So what are some of the best practices you hit upon?
So there's a lot of training that goes on in some of these cities. I use Miami as another example. They have implemented a crime lab where they use the most sophisticated techniques law enforcement have access to. Their training is paramount, but they also have laws in place that zero tolerance. So if you, for example, you call the police in Miami, they sometimes send a SWAT team, depending on what it is, just to ensure that there's safety and security when things happen. So whereas in Los Angeles, they can throw bombs at police cars, if you will, they don't allow those kinds of things. And because they don't have politicians that are backing this lawlessness, people know this is a law and order city. So they don't commit the crime or they're going to do the time.
In Chicago so far this year, of the 163 individuals who've been identified as victims of murder, 121 are black, 32 are Hispanic, 10 are white. So 73% of the murder victims so far this year in Chicago that have been identified are black. What does that tell us?
I mean, there's clearly a black-on-black crime issue. I don't think there's any doubt in that. As you mentioned, the victim and perpetrator are more often black, and the clearance rate on those cases are very, very low compared to all the other racial groups, if you will. And that's in part because of the code of silence that exists in these communities. And that's one thing that I've been very much against, this code of silence. When I grew up in the city of Chicago, it would be, no snitch policy. And if there was a victim of crime who was innocent, the gangs would either turn them into the police or they would handle it themselves. Now, you can be anyone and be shot by sleeping in your bed. You can be a grandmother or grandfather or a 6-month-old named baby Cecilia. It doesn't matter. It's lawlessness everywhere.
No, I know.
It has to come to an end.
Yeah, it's been 3 years. What do you miss most about your brother?
His sense of humor. Christian, he was a kind of kid that joked a lot. We all joke a lot in my family, but I really appreciated his sense of humor, his idealism, if you will. He wanted to go to college. He had a very much an interest in school sports. Those were things that drove him, and I appreciate all of those elements about him. And as I mentioned in the past before, this started about my brother, but is now about so many others. This journey is not one that I wanted, but is one that I'm on because I simply feel I have no choice.
Gianno Caldwell is going to be in town Wednesday, June 25th at Tao. That's the old Excalibur where I used to dance on boxes.
That's right. Tao.
Yeah.
It's pretty good there.
I used to cut it up there. Wednesday, June 25th, Tao, Chicago. Gianno is in town for a book signing. Tickets are available. How do people get tickets to that event?
They're on Eventbrite, and if you all would mind posting a link on your website too, that would be greatly appreciated. People can get tickets there. They can get them on our website as well. So we appreciate folks coming out. Certainly looking forward to a really good crowd of patriots, people who believe in safety and security, believe in law and order, people who support the principles of conservatism. So I'm excited about a good group of people coming out June 25th at Tao, Chicago, and the event is from 4 to 7 p.m.
Great. And the book releases the day before, but of course you can pre-order it. The book, again, is The Day My Brother Was Murdered, My Journey Through America's Violent Crime Crisis. Gianno Caldwell, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck with the book and the event in Chicago later this month.
Thank you for having me, Dan. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
People ask us all the time, when's the best time to replace an old air conditioner? Simple, before it breaks. Because when it does, you know it'll be the hottest day of the year, and suddenly you're scrambling like hundreds of others to get help during a heat wave. At Air Right Heating and Cooling, we've seen it all. We know there's never a good time to be without AC, especially in Chicagoland, where the humidity can make 80 degrees feel like 100. At Air Right, our experienced technicians don't just work fast, they'll do it right. Browse through our more than 1,500 5-star Google reviews to see what our loyal customers love most about us. If it's been a while since your system was inspected, don't wait for a heat wave before having it checked out. And right now, AM 560 listeners receive $56 off any service. Visit Air Rite Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Rite, doing it right since 1959.
Guys, spring is here. Time for gatherings with friends, family, and outdoor activities. But how are you going to keep up if low testosterone is draining your energy? The answer, TRT with Synergen X and Low T Center. They might seem convenient, but many online TRT services can be a hassle to get started. You end up spending hundreds of dollars and wasting time, so don't fall for it. Trust the experts at Synergen X and Low T Center. It's who I trust. They've been changing patients' lives for a combined 25 years. They understand what guys need. They're in person, and they make it easy to get started. Start today with a free consultation and free testosterone test. Best thing about it, it's free and fast. They have on-site labs to process your test quickly, and if you qualify, you can start treatment that day. They have locations across Chicagoland, and for guys looking to lose a few pounds, Synergen X and Low T Center make it easy with prescription weight loss medications. They do accept most major health insurance, so you have no excuse. Offer is limited, so go right now to fixmylowt.com to book your appointment. That website again, fixmylowt.com. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, Amy Jacobson here, and OMG, I was absolutely speechless when I saw my new garage floor. Level 10 Coatings did such an amazing job, and now my garage floor shines. Level 10 Coatings specializes in expert garage floor coatings for both residential and commercial spaces. Their floors are durable, easy to maintain, and best of all, done in just one day. Hey, if you've been thinking about upgrading your garage floor with that shiny new showroom look, please call my good friends at Level 10 Coatings at 855-510-2628 or book your free consultation online at level10coatings.com. And here's a bonus. Mention me, Amy Jacobson, and you'll get $500 off your project. Call 855-510-2628 or visit level10coatings.com today, or call 855-510-2628.
Big or small, we coat them all. Level 10 Coatings, your custom concrete coating solution.
Can you afford not to have effective video surveillance? Is your outdoor inventory at risk? Theft and vandalism can hit your bottom line hard. Stop these events before they happen. Monitor your business 24/7 with alarm detection systems. We prevent crime with live operators watching video alerts, ensuring your assets and employees are secure. It's not worth the liability when you can effectively protect what matters most. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143. Spending too much on security guards to patrol your property? With rising crime rates, guards may not be enough. And the cost, it's adding up fast. At Alarm Detection Systems, we offer a more innovative solution. Live video monitoring. Cameras provide extra coverage in even the hardest to reach areas. Unlike guards, they never get intimidated. Our operators watch video alerts in real time, cut costs, increase coverage, and stay secure. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143.
AM 560, The Answer.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance. Arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
I just had to do a quick one here because Chicago Sky WNBA bad girl Angel Reese was went full Naomi Campbell before the game against Caitlin Clark's team.
I saw that she had on a number with a fur stole black and a black hat, and then she was asking the photographers, like, "Oh no, here, just take one more here." And then, "Oh, did you get my good side?" Well, I made the good side up, but she was working the camera. She was walking the catwalk, walking the red carpet.
Yeah, very Lamont chic. She finished with 4 points. 3 turnovers and 12 rebounds. And they got blown out by Caitlin Clark's team, even though Caitlin Clark didn't play. Tickets were going for $3.
Yeah, because they moved the venue from Wintrust to United Center, but then she has a thigh injury, so.
And because it's the WNBA. There's an AI. Don't think that AI has no utility. It does.
Okay.
There's an AI post-game interview of what it would sound like if Angel Reese actually told the truth.
Okay.
Angel, I'm just going to get straight to it. You shat all over the court tonight. You had more turnovers than field goals made once again. You went 2 for 7 with 3 turnovers and had just 4 points. And you had 5 me-bounds to pad your rebound stats.
Me-bounds.
And you were out there trying to stat pad down 30 in the fourth quarter. But you're so trash that you couldn't even do that and managed to score 0 points in garbage time. And tickets were going for $3 tonight.
Oh my
I think you owe everyone a refund for what we witnessed out there. I could have bought a coffee instead of watching whatever the hell that was. Do you have any damn shame, Angel? Thank you.
$3 is actually a fair price because everyone knows without Caitlin Clark, nobody cared about tonight's game. Caitlin Clark runs this league, and we still managed to get clapped up by 30 even without her playing. Thank God she didn't play, or else we might have lost by 50. But I don't sell tickets. I sell victimhood. So the reason we lost tonight is because of racism. Caitlin Clark mocked me when I traveled, and that's very racist. That's why we lost tonight.
AI cutting through the bull jive and getting to what would be an honest conversation if one was ever had between a sports writer and Angel Reese. Although I get my favorite part of that is still referring to the stat padding me-bounds. Okay, the WNBA. Hilarious.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
8:38, speaking of hilariously immature young women, Greta and...
you want to talk about my Swedish sister?
Yeah,
Kidding.
the kidnapping by the occupying force in Israel and all that, or occupying force in Palestine, I guess they would call them. Anyway, we'll talk about that, but we'll also have a little bit more serious discussion about energy with Bjorn Lundberg at 8:38.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 62 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Monday marked the 4th straight day of protests against immigration raids in downtown Los Angeles.
Protesters were seen throwing objects at dozens of officers guarding the downtown Federal Building. The officers responded by firing flashbangs, tear gas, and non-lethal rounds. President Trump has deployed an additional 2,000 California National Guard troops to L.A. County, taking the total to about 4,000. That has prompted a lawsuit from Governor Gavin Newsom. He wants control of the National Guard back in his hands. I'm Daniel Martindale.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says National Guard troops in her city are only guarding federal buildings at this time. Bass made the comment while continuing to express frustration at the Trump administration for sending troops into L.A. amid anti-ICE protests.
My conversations with the administration was before the deployment of the National Guard. I was trying to make the case that the National Guard was not needed here.
She says that federal intervention is causing more chaos and fear. She confirms her office is aware of at least 5 ICE raids that have happened across the city in recent days. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Mike Gallagher can see what Trump does to the left.
These people are miserable. They're just miserable, unhappy, bitter, angry, sullen brats who didn't get their way. The election didn't go the way they wanted it to go. And now all they do is march around and whine about how miserable they are. That's Trump's superpower.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Charlie Kirk at 11 on AM 560. The Answer. It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing campaign, which includes 25 one-minute commercials to air on AM 560 Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., and a free digital marketing analysis. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Air Ride Heating and Cooling, Goldilocks, Doors, Locks, and Security, and by Fox Valley Coins.
As you know, our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Mike created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Mike is offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $49.98. That's right, you can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $49.98. Order now because when they're gone, they're gone. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts. Call 800-489-0201. Use promo code LIBERTY or go to mypillow.com. Make sure you use the promo code LIBERTY for the amazing offer of $49.98 on the Giza Dreams sheets, any size and any color. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
Hear sound teaching from God's Word from Dr. David Jeremiah on Turning Point. Each weekday morning at 9:30 on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, Sundays, noon to 1. Learn more online at mwmfinancial.tax.
From the Team Hawkberg Traffic Center, I'm Nikki Whaley. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 15 minutes. Outbound, 22 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burton Interchange, 48 minutes. Outbound, 46. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 51 minutes. Outbound, 36 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 52 minutes. Outbound is about 24 minutes. This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscriptions ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Hazy sun, breezy morning. That haze coming from distant wildfire smoke. High today 80. Clear tonight, low 63. Hazy sun, breezy warm day tomorrow. The high up to 90. Scattered thunderstorms on Thursday. High at 77. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I can't hear that song without thinking of Ozzie Guillen calling in Bobby Jenks from the bullpen to close the game. Better times for White Sox fans.
Oh, that's true.
It's interesting what's going on in California. Not talking about the LA riots. We might be talking about something else if not for the LA riots. Another manifestation of Governor Patrick Bateman's general incompetence. That's what happens when you're a doctrinaire and you've got the doctrine wrong. Now you have lawmakers in Sacramento revolting against Gavin Newsom's energy policy, an energy policy they, of course, endorsed. But the reason they're revolting, trying to walk away from the consequences of their policy choices, is because two major refineries in California recently announced they will shut down. And a study last month by USC Business School professor projected that gasoline prices could rise to more than $8 a gallon in California because of constricted supply. More self-inflicted wounds by eco-supremacists in California. Now they're saying that the Newsom climate diktats have created we have a crisis on our hands that may have been self-created by the actions perhaps taken by the state by regulators. These are members of the California State Assembly huffing and puffing to try to avoid any sort of accountability for their participation. Yeah. Imagine that. Lessons not learned in pursuit of tilting at windmills, literally and figuratively. For more on this, pleased to be joined again by Bjorn Lomborg for a discussion on energy policy. Bjorn is the president of the Copenhagen Consensus think tank and author of Best Things First. Bjorn, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan and Amy, it's great to be back.
So we see this happen over and over again. We've seen it in Germany. Now we see it in California, where the good intentions of those who are going to save the planet from fossil fuels run into the reality of energy needs for their constituents.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a real problem that they're trying to fix, but they're just trying to fix it so blatantly badly. And again, remember, there are real costs to changing over your energy supply from something that's cheap and reliable to something that's not. And so again, you can decide to say, well, we're rich enough, we're just going to live through it. We're going to pay $8 a gallon of gasoline, and we're fine with that. But the reality, of course, is most people, even in California, are not going to be fine with that. But you're never going to be able to convince the rest of the world to do this. And so unless you just want to have been doing, pointless virtue signaling, you really have to start thinking about how do you get China, India, Africa, all the rest of the world, which is going to dominate emissions in the 21st century along. And you're not going to do that by doing incredibly expensive, pointless policies. You're going to do that through innovation.
Well, what's going on with families in Germany and the UK that have cheaper solar and wind power added to their national power mix?
Well, so a lot of people who put up solar panels are really happy about it, but that's no surprise because they obviously get enormous subsidies for their own solar panels, and they get to scrounge off on the grid when there's no sun. They get the best of both worlds, but what they're really doing is they're getting everybody else to subsidize them. So in California and in Ontario, we have several other studies that show you have massive subsidies going typically to fairly well-off people to get them to buy these solar panels, feel good about themselves, get cheap energy when the sun is shining, and also cheap energy when the sun is not shining, and then everybody else, typically poorer people, will be paying for that. That's just, astoundingly stupid. Plus, of course, it's actually a really ineffective way to try to tackle global warming. So, it ticks all the wrong boxes. And again, it's not the way you're going to convince everyone else to fix climate change.
Well, it seems to me that's, one of the first things that needs to be addressed is addressing the premise that green energy is cheap and reliable. It's very much like Voltaire described the Holy Roman Empire as neither holy nor Roman. Green energy is neither cheap nor reliable, and we found that out, Spain and Portugal found that out recently.
Yes. So obviously it's not reliable in the sense that you can never know, say 10 days in advance, whether you're going to have wind or solar. Now, there's a reasonable chance you might have some solar in the daytime. You know that you're not going to have any in the nighttime. And the reality is you basically need to buy a full backup for both of these, which basically means you have two systems. But not only that, now, that alone makes it more costly, but what the Spanish and Portuguese blackout showed is that when you have a lot of solar and wind, you make the system more unstable because once it starts becoming unstable, and we don't yet know whether that was caused by solar and wind or something else, but then you can't bring it back to stability because there's no spinning reserves. Fundamentally, in the times of old, we had lots of big wheels spinning, producing electricity, and they made sure that the frequency of the net stayed pretty much the same. We no longer have that, and that by itself, the Reuters estimate, is going to cost Europe another couple of trillion dollars. So that's an enormous extra cost. So not only is it not stable, not only is it not cheap, it's even more costly than we thought.
And just to, the comparisons too, and you go through this in a piece you penned for the New York Post about solar and wind. Germany, 34 cents per kilowatt hour is more than twice the U.S. cost, nearly 4 times the Chinese price, where you have in the U.S. and China, there's some similarities and some differences, but the bottom line is there's a mix of energy that is intended to provide the sort of reliable energy sources that are required to power big industrial economies.
Exactly. And actually, if you plot all of the countries that we have data for, so 70 countries, from China and U.S. to the European Union to Germany and the U.K., which has the biggest cost in 2023, it actually turns out that the more solar and wind you have, the higher the cost. There's no places where you have lots of solar and wind and you have really low prices. So in Indonesia, where you have almost no solar and wind, you actually have some of the lowest prices. You have less than 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And in Germany, as you point out, 34 cents, and in the UK, it was actually above 40 cents. And this is all the kilowatt hours, not just for consumers, which are typically much more expensive, but also for industries. So this is the weighted average. It's just simply incredibly costly to have more solar and wind. And we know this is not a model. This is the real world. There are no places where you have lots of solar and wind and low prices.
And so do you see any sort of pivoting or the beginning of pivoting by these Western European nations that have gotten it so wrong?
Look, there's a lot of unease, but right now, no, the sense is, just like you were talking about with the Californians, it's more sort of, well, we got to find a way without admitting that we were wrong to make this work. And, the blackout probably means that we're going to say, oh, okay, then we're going to pay another couple of $1 trillion. And eventually you'll run out of trillions of dollars to spend on this. So right now, the European Union has promised to cut 55% of its emissions by 2030. That's going to be hard, but doable. By 2040, we promised to cut 90 to 95% of our emissions. That's going to be virtually impossible, and it's going to be so costly to do it. So sometimes between 2030 and 2040, you're going to see a lot of countries either throw out their existing governments or just simply vote for other people who will say, no, we're not going to pay.
So rather than these quixotic misadventures, the environmental groups and some of these Western nations that are captive to them are on currently, what should they be pursuing in the interests of reducing pollution, providing reliable energy to people that don't otherwise currently enjoy it, and improving quality of life? What are the sorts of, I consider you, I'm sure you consider yourself an environmentalist. What are the sorts of things that real environmentalists that are looking for a sustainable future for human beings and the planet should be focused on?
We should be focusing on what always solves all big problems: innovation. Look, if you can make a green new energy source cheaper than fossil fuels, you've won. Everyone will switch. So take, for instance, fourth generation nuclear, which could be these new small modular type approved in the factory, and then you just produce hundreds of thousands of them and swarm the whole world with them. If we can make them cheaper, and we don't know that yet, but if you could make it cheaper than fossil fuels, everyone would buy them, not just rich, well-meaning Californians, but also the Africans, the Indians, and the Chinese, and everybody else around the world. So the reality here is it's not about making yourself feel virtuous and feeling really wonderful about your little private choices in Chicago or in California, but this is about making the innovations that will make everyone else want to do it. Now, I'm not going to promise that we're going to fix fourth generation nuclear. It could be fusion. It could be solar and wind with lots and lots of batteries, but we need a lot of development. There's a lot of potential, but we're not there right now. So instead of trying to switch over while it's incredibly expensive and you're only going to get Californians on board, we should be investing a lot more in green energy innovation. The beautiful thing is this is going to cost maybe 5% of what we're currently spending on climate policies, and it'll have a much greater chance to actually do some good, because it's not just about switching in the U.S. or in Europe, but also switching everywhere else, which quite frankly, matters much more in the 21st century.
Now, Bjorn, before we let you go, I wanted to ask you about the Swedish sister, Greta Thunberg. She was deported from Israel this morning. Well, after they intercepted this, Gaza-bound celebrity aid boat. Why do you think she just went from being an advocate for the climate to becoming a pro-Hamas supporter? Is it the attention and the power?
They called it the selfie boat, which I thought was quite hilarious.
Yeah.
But the reality, of course, what that really shows is I actually have quite a bit of respect for Greta, because she pointed out that all my politicians tell me this is the end of the world, and yet they're doing very little. And that was correct. Of course, it was because the politicians were lying, not because they weren't doing enough. But, respect for a schoolgirl to actually point that out and make a lot of people hear that. But what I think it really shows is she has gone from saying, oh, my God, the world is ending and we're all going to die, to, oh, I'm going to worry about the Palestine issue. Mm-hmm. Well, if you really believed this was the end of the world, you'd probably stick with it, wouldn't you? Yeah. It just seems like it was more an indication of this was the, the fresh flavor of the day or the week or the month. But in reality, it sort of uncovers that this is not the most important problem in the world. We're not all going to die. It's a problem, yes. It's not the end of the world. And that matters, because then we can stop worrying intensely, and we can stop making really stupid policies and start making smarter ones.
Yeah, maybe she'll make a speech scolding herself for her, lethargic action in saving the planet. One other thing, though, too, that's going on that has to put pressure on these green energy ideologues is the economic imperatives associated with the AI revolution, the energy needs, where they're projecting a 30 to 50% increase in the West in terms of energy capacity to meet the needs of the artificial intelligence revolution. And if you're not providing that kind of capacity, then you could get left behind. And that's got to be frightening to some of these politicians, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, what that shows you is no AI sender is going to say, sure, we're fine with you just providing, electricity when the sun is shining or if the wind is blowing, and otherwise there's going to be none. Of course, they're not actually doing that. They want reliable power, and also they want cheap power. And so, again, we're back to saying, don't try to win this by making these virtue signaling policies that are going to be very expensive and probably going to lose you some of the AI opportunities, but is not going to solve climate change. You need to focus on innovation, because it's only if we find a cheap, reliable, green energy that can actually outcompete fossil fuels that we will get a solution everyone will adopt.
Bjorn Lomborg is the president of the Copenhagen Consensus think tank, author of the book Best Things First. Bjorn, thank you as always.
Great to talk to you guys.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson. There's an old saying out there. Small hinges swing big doors. In other words, doing little things right can have a big result. Tom Fortino and the team of Alpha Wealth Group have been helping people retire since 2010 and have found that while many have an investment plan, very few have a tax plan. And that can be the element that makes a huge difference when it comes to money you'll have to spend in your retirement. What if you had a plan that protected you against future tax increases by the government? What if it kept your Social Security taxes from going up, all while keeping your Medicare premiums down? It is possible, and that's just the beginning. What kind of hinges are on your retirement door? You either have a tax plan or you don't. Call Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711. Or download his complimentary Alpha Wealth reports by visiting alphawealthgroup.com.
Reliability isn't optional when business security is on the line. It's essential. Businesses trust alarm detection systems for the highest level of service and expertise. Think about the time you could save using one source for cameras, keycard access, fire, and intrusion systems. ADS offers expert alarm installation and testing by highly trained technicians, 24/7 professional monitoring, same-day or next-day service upon request because downtime isn't an option, dedicated teams for cameras, access control, and fire alarms, More than 300 security professionals working for you. Choosing ADS means your business stays protected and will be ready to open tomorrow. They combine human monitoring with the latest AI camera technology to prevent crime in real time. Trusted by small and large businesses, including many Chicagoland schools, their security experts will review your system for free. Go to adsalarm.com and schedule an appointment today. That's adsalarm.com. Alarm detection systems, the first choice of Chicagoland businesses, including right here, AM 560 The Answer, and Salem Media Chicago. Visit Alarm Detection Systems at adsalarm.com. Alarm license 127000143.
Everybody seems to be more health conscious these days, worrying about their weight, what they eat, what they put into their bodies. And if you're in pain, taking pills to mask the pain is not the answer. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. Please listen up. There is hope to end your chronic pain due to arthritis or an injury, and that's QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is different. These are not quick fixes. This is a revolutionary treatment that works to give your body long-term relief. You will meet medical director Dr. Ashley Caravelli and her team. They'll explain how their regenerative treatments take your own body's healing power and helps restore damaged tissue. So say goodbye to chronic pain and live your best life. Find out if you're a candidate. The consultation is free with appointments on weekdays and Saturdays. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, this is some of the other hymnals in preparation for the
No King's Day, or what else is it called?
Yeah, No King's Day, the Day of Defiance.
The Day of Yep.
That's this coming Saturday. We've got the full songbook here, the No King songbook from the Kairos Center. We played a few selections earlier.
Yeah, they weren't bad. What one did you like best?
Well, I mean, let's go. Let's expand. We want to provide as much exposure to the oeuvre of neo-Marxist protesting and chanting as possible. How about this classic? Organize, organize, organize.
All right, here we go. Organize, organize, organize. We gotta organize, organize, organize. Everybody now. Organize, organize, organize. We gotta organize, organize, organize. 'Cause we want justice for our people. Living wages and equality. Your turn. And we want justice for our people. We living wages and equality.
Ooh, that's a little.
I know it's a little. That one. It's just that one voice ruins it all.
A little bit of a beat behind. They got to do a little bit more of harmonizing there. But
can you redeem this?
I just don't know if there's enough people with the vocal chops to pull this off, especially a cappella, but maybe as a group. Here's a classic. You'll remember this little ditty.
All right.
Everyone has a right to live, except the preborn. It's parenthetical.
Everybody's got a right to live.
Oh, boy.
Everybody's got a right to live. We say poverty no more. We want justice for the poor. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody.
And, of course, this classic, which really speaks to the movement.
Until we get our way. And to fossil fuels. Now.
Yeah, that's we do what we want.
Fossil fuel.
The anthem of the temper tantrum set. So it's going to be a fun Saturday wherever you celebrate Defiance Day. Good times.
All right. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Could not do it without them. And thanks to you, our listeners. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. It is now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Democrats don't like it.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The president's decision to call the